Okay, so a very good evening, guys. Can you let me know if you all can hear me and see a screen? Yes. Can hear, can see. All good. Nice. Right. So today, guys, we're going to start off with unit number 2. So before we get into the unit, there are a few things that I want to point out. So listen carefully. We'll get this done. Right. What? Yes. The unit 5 and the revision 2 will be on the same time. Yes. Okay. So hold on. Okay. Hmm. Right. So guys, in terms of your revision file that you should have this file. If you're a part of theory, it should be there inside this as well. Give me a second. Hold on. Okay. So you need to have this file, and along with this, inside this file, Lamai, please check if you have all the papers that is there, because sometimes when packaging, certain papers can actually be missing. So I'll just let you know what and what is inside this. Along with me, quickly check for those who got the file already. If you have paid the fees last week, Lama, you should have the file by now. So please check if you have this. Okay. The first one is the short note. Right? There is a tute in the sense it's a short note. It's a 4-page thing summarizing the entire unit. See if that is there. See if you have another small tute lamai on this substitution income effect. Is that thing there? Substitution effect, income effect, price effect for a normal inferior given. That should be there. Cool. Right. And then from there onwards, Lama, you need to have the other papers now. So in terms of papers, check whether you have the past paper tute, right? Whether you have the past paper tute of focus area 5, 6, and 7. So unit 2, I have broken it into 3 areas. So see whether you have the past paper focus area of focus area 5, past paper focus area 6, and past paper focus area 7. Apart from that, then check if you also have the main revision paper. That is the paper that you'll do and submit. The paper that has this small blank area of a short note. So see if you have revision paper number 5, 6, and 7. Now remember, Lamai, why is it starting from 5? Because revision paper 1, 2, 3, 4 were unit 1 up. It's not because there is a few papers missing. So this is a continuation from all the units. So in unit number 1, you would have got focus area 1, 2, 3, 4. The revision paper 1, 2, 3, 4, you would have got certain take-home papers. So it continues like that for unit number 4, unit number 2. It doesn't start from 1 again. So in the unit 2 file, see if you have revision paper 5, 6, and 7. Those papers there. And then check, Lama, if you have the take-home paper. So take-home papers, there needs to be 4 papers there. There needs to be take-home paper number 4, 5, 6, and 7. And for take-home papers, the answers are also there. So see whether you have the answers for take-home paper 4, 5, 6, 7. Everything is there. Yes. For those who did not get your tute yet, Lama, you should most likely get it within this week. Most of the tutes have been couriered. The ones who have not yet got it, you should get it very, very soon. Okay. Make sure, guys, one more thing. Once you all pay the monthly fee, so every month, once the monthly fee is paid, make sure that you fill the registration form. Some of you all don't do that. Some of you all, you end up paying the fee, but you don't fill the registration form, because only if you fill the registration form, we will send the tutes, Lamai. Because in the registration form, only you give the details of your email, your that is for recordings, then your address, your contact number is all in that. So make sure you fill the form every single month. If you do that, pay before the 10th of each month. Don't delay that too much. So pay before the 10th. Make sure you fill the form. There is one form only, Lama. In that form, you can select whether you're coming for theory, revision, or if you're coming for both. So select the correct thing based on the fee that you have paid and get that done. So for those who have not yet got the tute, you will get the tutes very, very soon. And in terms of if you're not added to the WhatsApp group, just drop a text to the admin. They will sort that out. Then in terms of unit number 1, Lamai, have you all finished off all the work? Yes. Unit number 1. The revision papers that we did, the maybe a few past papers that you all were supposed to get done. Is all of that done? There were close to around 11 papers with the take-home papers. Make sure you try to do as much as you can. But if there is a bit pending, that is okay. But as much as possible, I try to finish all, because don't pile things up. The moment you start piling things up, then it gets piled and piled and piled. You will never end up doing it. So remember, the target is by the end of February, that is next year, February, we will finish all the papers. Theory will also be done. Revision also, all the papers will be done. So just think, Lamai, compare yourself with another student. If you do all the work that I'm giving you, by the end of February next year, that is way before your A-level exam. That's around 6 months before your A-level exam. You have done, Lamai, 100 papers. So those papers include my papers, the past papers. You've done all of that. So 100 papers done 6 months before the exam is a lot of work, Lamai. So close to around 100 papers you will be doing. Maybe it could be 90, 100, somewhere around there. But you itself think how much of work you would have done if you properly get things done. So on your end, few things that I want you to do. One is I want you to regularly attend the live class, unless it's really impossible. You have maybe a funeral hurry. It's the worst case. You can skip and watch the recording. If not, I want you to attend the live class and not collect the recordings. Now, I should not be telling it to you all because you all are here in the class. I need to be telling this to the people who are not in the class, but pass the message to them as well. One more important thing, listen to this very, very, very carefully. Okay. In terms of my classes and everything that I do, Lamai, I put a lot of effort. Okay. So especially when it comes to even these tudes for unit number 2, right? The revision, to make the papers, to classify the past papers, all of these are things that I have typed on my own. Even the past papers, you have the entire book. I looked at it and I typed one by one by one. So the past papers are typed, the revision papers are made. I mark your papers and give. Now this time I added a short note for unit number 2 as well. So on my end, I am putting a lot of effort. But if that effort is not coming from your end, there is not going to be a point. And if that is not going to come from your end, I don't want you to be a part of my class. Simple as that. So in terms of these papers, now you all know there are main revision papers that you need to submit. If these papers are not submitted, I'm repeating, if these main revision papers are not submitted, I will not allow you to register for classes next month. I don't just want a big number of students. I want a set of students who are willing to work. If I am going to put effort on my end, do all of it. Now I'm also, even today, I'm right after work. I came at home by around 5 o'clock from work. It's not easy. I would have woke up early in the morning, sorted certain stuff, gone to work, come back from work. If I am here sitting in this front of this and doing the class, if I can put the effort on my end, you are the one who actually has the exam, not me. So you need to put equal effort as well. You need to come to class. You need to get the papers done. If that is not done, right, I will drop a text to you. I will drop you a text saying, this is not working. From next month, please don't register. I don't want you to waste your parents' money, right? Because if it is theory and revision, both of it, you all are paying 5,500 as a class fees. That is not a small amount, Lama. That is your parents' hard-earned money. So for that 5,500 that you're paying, don't only collect the tude. You don't have to pay 5,500 just to collect the tude, Lamai. Pay that 5,500, get the tude, do all the papers, come to class, get the recording access, so that 1 year later, if you want to come back and watch, you can do that. Make full use of the money that you pay. Okay, I'm telling you. So I'll give you instructions on how to submit the papers. Don't worry. Take it seriously. This is a paid class now. Month 1 would have been free. Some of you all would have joined for the fun of it. I don't care. Now, this month, if you're here, means you have paid the fee and come. If you have paid the fee and come, make full use of the class now. Don't pay the fee. Just collect the papers, keep it at home. You will not find time to do this later. Now, you might think, sir will finish by February. I will do that. I can get that done. That won't happen, because after February, I will start a fast track program to push you to that island rank kind of levels. There is even more work that is there. So please, please, please get the work done, submit the papers, and all of that should happen on your end. Because trust me, Lamai, if you can do all the work that I'm giving you, you will do really, really great for econ. Not just a 75. You can go much more than a 75, even get to, let's say, a very good island rank. If you can get your other two subjects also sorted, if you can get to around 90, 95 in your three subjects, you can easily come among Lamai, the top 100, top 200 in the island. There are, if you take the commerce stream, there is close to around 50, 60,000 students. The art stream, there is close to around 80,000 students. So from whatever three subjects that you do, your target has to be 11, not just to get the 75. Even if you're at a 0 level now, you have more than a year to go. Make full use of that 1 year, get the work done, you will be able to achieve it. You need to believe in yourself. You need to put in the hard work. Consistent, small work, Lamai. Right now, let's say you study for 2 hours today. You will not see a big difference. But 2 hours of studying every day for 1 year, that is 700 hours of study. That is a lot of time. So you might think of, today I start studying, I did a very small part, doesn't make a difference. So you spend your time for, let's say, around 2 years, you will see a huge, huge difference on your end. So for those who have not got the tudes again, Lama, you should get it very, very soon. So I will send a list of students whom I have sent the tudes to. So please check if your name is there. If your name is there, then the tudes would have come. By any chance, Lama, if your papers are not there on the Google Drive that was sent, most of the papers should be there, Lama. Some of you all just don't check it properly. So on the Google Drive, make sure, Lama, you sort it alphabetically. And then look at your name. So first thing to do that, Lama, you have to submit the paper with the correct name, right? Now, some of you all submit the paper on the group with CamScanner or, something you submit it with a weird name. So then that weird name only, it will be there on the Google Drive. If you have properly renamed it with your thing, if you have properly renamed it there, Lama, just check. So sometimes there could be small issues. Humans make errors, Lama. But most of the papers are there. There could be 1 or 2 papers that are missing. If that is the case, just inform the admin. They will sort that. Okay, right. So unit 1 is done. We're starting off unit number 2 today. We have a lot of work to do today. So listen and get this done. Okay, so I'll share my screen. Let's get started. Okay. So for unit number 2, Lamai, I'll show you how I have broken this. Yes, I've got the Zoom set into the older version. Actually, I installed this thing. For theory, unit 5 and unit 4 is not connected, Lamai. So that's even a good place for you all to start. So for those who are looking at Lamai learning theory, what you can do is, now unit number 5 is not connected to unit number 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it's a complete separate unit that is there. So even if you don't know unit number anything, you will still understand 5. I'm starting unit number 5 in the theory class on this Thursday. Okay, right. So any other questions, Lamai, I'll come to it. I'll let you know when the papers will have to be submitted. So listen, Lamai, if you take unit number 2, so what I have done is I have broken, Lamai, unit number 2 into, I have broken unit number 2. Guys, can you give me 1 second? Hold on. Let me make this slide to fit the screen. Hold on, give me 1 second. Until that case, okay. So before I get into unit number 2, until we do that, can you all take your short note? For those who have the short note, others, you can wait for a couple of minutes. Take your short note out. Can you read the first couple of pages? Just give me 2 minutes. Let me quickly make the slides that fit my screen. I just get a little annoyed when it doesn't fit the screen. So give me 2 minutes for that. Until that, please read the first 2 pages of your short note tip. Okay, hold on. Recording, right, recorded. So in terms of unit number 2, Lamai, I have broken unit number 2 into 3 parts. So how I have broken the unit, I remember each big unit, Lamai, I break it into smaller parts. So each of these smaller parts is what I call a focus area. So then why did I call it a focus area? Because that week, I want you to focus on that area. So unit number 1, remember I broke it into 4 areas. focus area 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, unit number 2, I've broken into 3. So that is focus area number 5. This is the one that is there for today. We have focus area number 5. That is on Lamai demand and elasticity of demand. We'll be discussing this today. Then there is focus area Lamai number 6. What do you all think focus area number 6 is on? Any guesses? If focus area 5 is on demand, focus area number 6 is on supply. Yeah, nice. You all have the tunes now. So it is on supply and elasticity of supply. City of supply. And then you have Lamai the last focus area, that is focus area number 7. What is that on? That is on market equilibrium. So each week we will focus on one of this Lamai. It is broken, so then that is easy for you all. Then you all know during that week, this is the part that you have to study. You study that part, you do the papers relevant to that part, you can get that done. So it's structured nicely, so you know what to do. So then connecting to focus area number 5, we have Lamai revision paper 5. So you have revision paper number 5. You have the past paper tute for focus area 5. For focus area 6, you have Lamai revision paper number 6 and the past paper focus area for number 6. Then focus area 7, you have revision paper number 7 and past paper focus area number 7. So today what I will be doing, Lamai, today's class is a 3-hour session. So what I will be doing today is the short note is not enough for you to do the entire paper. The short note is a short note, Lamai. If you can study 4 pages and do the entire paper, then there is no point in it. So take home papers, Lamai, take home papers don't exactly follow this structure. It has a separate topic that you can also separately work on it. Okay. The main ones are the revision papers and the focus areas. The take home paper at home, in your time, I'll let you know when you can do it. You can work on that. So then in terms of unit number 2, so today what I will be doing, Lamai. No, so this month we will do unit number 2. Next month we'll move to unit number 3. So today I will be, Lamai, recapping the theory. This is the part that I will be doing today. I'll recap the entire focus area number 5. Then what does that mean? Once I'm done with recapping focus area number 5, I'm telling you today, by next Tuesday, you have one entire week. By next Tuesday, you need to complete, Lamai, revision paper number 5. That is the paper that you have to submit. You will do the past papers that you don't have to submit. Past papers you will do. I will send you the YouTube discussion of that as well. You can compare your answers. Take home papers also, I'll let you know when you can do. But this main revision paper, the revision paper is the one, Lamai, that has the first page, a blank area for short note. And on the top, there is a small box with your name, school and all. That is the revision paper. So you need to submit revision paper number 5 by next, when? By next Tuesday. So I'll just let you know, Lamai, how your plan should be for this week. Okay. So for this week, now today, I will recap this entire area. So I will teach it. I will summarize it. Right? I will recap the whole thing. We'll do that. Then what I want you to do is take another 2 days. Now today is Tuesday. No? Take maybe Wednesday and Thursday for you to study that area. So Wednesday and Thursday, maybe you study this area, study the demand area, study about Lamai elasticity of demand. So you get that done. After that, once you have studied it, now go and do Lamai the past papers. So go and do the past papers for unit focus area 5. Get the past papers done. Complete that tune. Now you have come for the recap. You have studied the area. Now you have done the past papers. So the past papers, Lamai, by around Sunday, finish that off. Then you have Monday and Tuesday to do what? To do the revision paper. So now you're doing the revision paper, Lamai. Not just you are studying the unit, you're doing the past papers. After doing that only, Lamai, you're coming and doing the revision paper. So then your marks for your revision paper will be good, Lamai, because you have studied, you have done the past papers. With that only you're doing the paper. Now, some of you all, what you all end up doing is, Lamai, you just come for the discussion, just do the paper and you submit. But then sometimes your marks are low, right? You text me saying, sir, I did not get that much of marks. I feel demotivated. That is because you have not done the work, Lamai. So remember that week, you have to focus on that area. Come for class, study, do the past papers, do the revision paper, submit. Then next week, we go to focus area number 6. So what you can do is, Lamai, have that structure. So every week, now what I'm trying to train you is, I'm trying to train you, Lamai, for a certain pattern. So every week now you know, Tuesday sir is doing an area. So then Tuesday I have to come to class. Wednesday, Thursday, I have to study that part. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I can do the past papers for that part. Then Monday and Tuesday, I have to allocate to do the paper. Before the class, you have to submit the paper. So train your mind, build that schedule, Lamai, build a routine. That is very important. Now with 1 year to go, make sure you build that routine and get the work done. So on my end, I will now summarize and get it done. Past papers, you don't have to submit, Lamai. That past papers, we will do it later on at another point. I will mark those for you all at another point. For now, you don't have to submit past papers for now. The main revision paper is the only one that you will submit. When do you have to submit the next paper? Next Tuesday. Instructions to submit, I will send. For now, do the work and you write the paper and complete the paper. How to submit the paper, I will send instructions, especially for those who are joining newly. Any questions, Lamai, on this? If anyone is lost, please let me know. Are you all clear with what is happening? Don't just pay the past paper answers, Lamai, you can get from your past paper book. So I have not typed every single thing. Some of it I might have typed, I'll send if I have it. But past paper book has the answers, Lamai. The past paper book answers are good enough. So you can refer to that. The take home papers, I'll let you know when to do. So for now, you can keep it and get it done. What are the units fully theory in grade 12 and grade 13? You don't have really fully theory units in, especially in econ. Every unit has a bit of sums and all of that. Okay. How to submit them? I will send instructions. Don't worry. On the group, I'll send instructions on how to submit. For now, work on completing the paper. Okay. Right. So then we'll start with this. Should we submit 2 papers every week? 1 paper. The main revision paper is what you have to submit, Lamai. The revision paper number 5. Yeah, better to buy a past paper book, Lamai. Have that. The 1000 MCQs for your batch, I will do it when it's closer to your exam. I'll be releasing it for the 25 batch now. For your batch, we can do it then. Unit 2, yes, we will complete it by this thing. Take home paper, Lamai, there is nothing to submit there. You can do it on home. That's why it's called a take home paper. So you can do it at home. The marking scheme is there. You can mark it on your own. Right. Yes, past paper MCQs are fine. Doubts. Yeah, when coming across doubts, Lamai, you can definitely reach out to me. Revision paper 4. I feel a good mark would be at least around a 60. How much did you all get, Lamai, for revision paper number 4? Now, one more thing, guys. I also am working on the top score of flyers. I couldn't submit any top score of flyers. I couldn't share anything on the group. So for revision paper 1, 2, 3, 4, because we are collecting the pictures. I think the admin would have texted you to get some pictures also. So it's taking a little bit of time. Remember, if you have only given a picture, you will be included in the flyer. Otherwise, you will be omitted. So we are working on the flyers these days. So very soon for unit 1, revision paper number 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'll make the flyer and I'll get that done. Recordings, Lamai, our admin will sort it for you very soon. Okay, so I hope you did well. We'll see how the top scorers are. Yes, guys, the paper was out of 104. That's something that we missed, no, when discussing the thing. The paper was out of 104. I think the paper was out of 52. So the marks come out of 104. I was hoping that no one gets more than 100, but there were a few people who had more than 100 also. So we'll see, right? I'll make the flyer and I'll let you know. It's out of 104 yesterday's paper that was given. So if there are any issues with the papers, Lamai, not marked, anything issues, you can text the admin. They will sort it for you. Okay. So we'll start with today's part. Listen carefully. We'll get this done. Now, I'll try my best, Lamai, to finish off this entire area on demand today. But in case we have a small area left, I might do an extra class on the weekend and do it for you. Okay? Because I'm not going to rush it for life, because there is a very important part that I want to teach you. I will try my level best to finish the whole demand area, but the whole demand area is big, Lamai, because it has the elasticity part as well. I'll try my level best to finish it today. But if I can't finish it today, somewhere in the weekend, I will do a bit of an extra class and I will finish it. Anyway, next Tuesday, you have to submit the paper. Get that? Done. Right. So then we'll start with unit number 2, market forces and elasticity. Unit number 2 is Lamai. Good news is it's not connected to unit number 1. Even if you don't know unit number 1, you will understand unit number 2 and it works perfectly well. So in terms of unit number 2, we're starting off with, Lamai, I told you, we're going to start off with this thing called demand. So what is demand and what are the factors that affect demand? So what is demand? Demand, we say, is, Lamai, at a given point of time, the quantity a consumer is ready to buy at different prices. For example, when the price of a good is 10 rupees, how much units are the consumers willing to buy? So let's say, for example, we'll take mobile phones. So if the iPhone is, let's say, 200,000 rupees, okay, then how much are people willing to buy? So let's say if the price of an iPhone is 200,000, okay, then how much are people willing to buy? Let's say they are willing to buy 50 phones. If the price is, let's say, 300,000, then how much are people willing to buy? And that is what you call demand level. At a given point of time, at various different prices, how many units are the consumers willing to buy? That's what you call demand. Now, this demand level, we can talk about individual demand. That is demand of one person. Or you can also talk about market demand. What is market demand? Market demand is everyone's demand for one good. So for example, my demand for a mobile phone will be individual demand. All of our demand for a mobile phone is what we call market demand. Then we'll look at what are the determinants of demand. So we'll go one by one quickly. Right? I have left these slides blank because I want you all to learn this properly. Now I want help from you all, Lamai. So can you all help me out? Can you all tell me what is the first main determinant of demand? Demand depends on what, Lamai? Mainly, what's the first main one? I all have learned this. I all have learned this in school, in theory. You have learned. What's the first main determinant? The first main determinant is the price of that good, no? Now, for example, what is the main thing that determines the demand for my tuition class? Forget about everything else. The main thing is my price of my tuition class. If I charge crazy prices, no one will come, no matter how good I am. So the first main determinant is what? The price of the good. So we say price of the concerned good. Concerned good means our good. Okay. So price of the concerned good. Now, can you all tell me how does this work? So price of the concerned good, that is what you call P. What happens, Lamai? If the price of the concerned good increases, what happens to your quantity demanded? Quickly tell me. Quantity demanded will, price increases, QD will decrease. People will buy less, no? If the good price goes up, Lamai, QD will decrease. On the same side, what happens if the price comes down? If the good became cheaper, what happens, Lamai? The quantity demand increases. Right. Now that part you all know. We don't have to worry too much. We'll go into Lamai, the second determinant. What's the second main determinant? After price of the good. We'll go in the order of whatever that is there in your theory tute also. Price of related goods. Price of related goods. Now, what are the related goods? Related goods you have two types of related goods. What do you have? You have substitutes and complements. You have substitutes and you have complementary goods. So what are substitutes? What are complements? Substitutes and complements, or we can call it complementary goods. What is a substitute, Laman? A substitute is a good that can be consumed instead of one another. Instead of this, you can buy this. That is what you call a substitute. For example, instead of, let's say, buying Coca-Cola, you can buy Pepsi. And a substitute. Instead of buying Coca-Cola, let's say you can drink a bottle of water. And a substitute. So instead of one, if you can use another, And that is what you call lamai a sub. Exactly. It satisfies the same human need. Anka and Ratti. Maybe Coca-Cola and Kick-Cola, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Like maybe my tuition class and others' class. And what are those? They are substitutes. So two goods. I'll just make a small note here. Lamai. Two goods consumed instead of one another. So instead of this, you can buy this. Right. What are complementary goods, Lamai? Complementary goods are goods that are, what is this? Sixth class can be substitute? Maybe that could be, who knows? What are complementary goods? Complementary goods are two goods that are consumed together. Two goods that are consumed together. Right. So I'll give you an example, Lamai, and we'll start. So maybe a common example for something like this. For substitutes, let's say you can say tea and coffee. I will go with a bit of a boring example. For complementary, Lamai, can you connect it with the tea story itself? Tea and what? Could be a complementary. When you buy tea, you buy something else also. Maybe tea and milk, tea and sugar. Yeah. So tea and sugar. I don't think any of you all are diabetes patients who drink tea without sugar. So tea and sugar. Right. Now, Lamai, will try to understand this story. Now, this is where Lamai, I don't want you all to memorize, logically understand so Lamai, because now that is one more thing. Okay, I'm telling you all. Econ is a very interesting subject, Lamai. Eka logically when you try to understand. But some people, what you all do, Lamai, eka katabadan karna. You try to memorize it. When you memorize it, what happens, Lamai? You forget. Now, some of you all come and tell me, sir, I studied, sir, but now I can't remember, no, sir. You didn't study and remember. You memorized, you can't remember, Lamai. That is normal human nature. What you memorized, Lamai, for a day or two, you will remember. What you memorized, Lamai, 3-4 months down the line, you can't remember. So don't memorize anything. Understand it with logic. I make a win. Why does this happen? Okay. So I'll teach you with the logic. You try to understand it there. Okay. Now, so what happens when the price of a substitute increases? So let's say we'll take you to tuition classes. Now let's say now my tuition class and another sir's class. Now both of us right now we are charging the same class fees. Now that sir is my substitute. No? That's a increased class fees. Price of the substitute increased. Now he's charging a higher class fee. Let's say both of us charged 5,000. Now he's charging 7,000. What do you think will happen in the market now? What will students do, Lamai? Students will stop going for his class and come to my class. No? When that's increased prices, they will stop his class and come to my class. So the demand for our good is the concern good, Nilamai. The demand will increase. They will come to mine. What if it goes the other way around? What if, Lamai, that's a reduced class fees? That other sir, he reduced class fees to 3,000. Then what will you all do? You all will stop coming to my class and you all will like, that sir is giving class at just 3,000. You will start going there. And when the substitute price goes down, the demand for your good will go down. My class will go down because why? People go to buy that good. That's how that works. So there is a positive relationship. No, when my price is constant, my price is changing in the first determinant. In the second determinant, the price of the substitute is changing. So when the price of the substitute changes, yeah, what happens? Price of substitute increase, demand for my good will go up. Price of substitute goes down, demand for my good will go down. So here we talk about demand, not quantity demand. I'll come to it why later. Then we'll talk about complementary goods. So complementary goods are what? Complementary goods are two goods consumed together. So if you take my classes, along with my classes, what else do you consume? Can you give me the complementary good for my classes? Data, Wi-Fi, right? Data, Wi-Fi, that could be a good complementary good, which you all pay and get. No, substitution effect is different. I'll come to that. Okay. So what happens now? Let's say Lamai, the complementary good became very expensive. Let's say Lamai, now Dialog is telling for 1 GB of internet, you have to pay 1,000 rupees. The price of complementary good. For my classes, complementary good is data. Now Dialog is saying under for 1 GB, 1,000 rupees. They increase their price. So what happens if the price of the complementary good increase? Now, what do you think will happen to my demand for my class? Now, data packages are very expensive. So then no one will buy data. No one will buy data. No one can come to my class also. No? So demand for my classes, Anna will start coming. Same thing. What if it happens the other way around? What if my data becomes very cheap? What if the price of the complementary good goes down? Let's say government comes and says free data for Sri Lanka. What if they do something like that? Let's say Anura Kumara has so much of money now, right? They come and say, free data for the entire country. What happens to me then? Price of data goes down. Demand for my classes might increase, no? People will be like, Marune. Everyone starts going for online classes. Anna demanding it. So what type of relationship there? There's a negative relationship. Don't memorize positive, negative, lamai. Understand it with a story. Right. Then that's the second one. We'll then get into lamai, the third determinant. What is the third main one? There is no order, but we'll go in the order in the tute. Complementary good necessarily have to be a subpart of our good. Tires, vehicles, shoes, socks, usually together. Now, even tea and sugar, usually it's doesn't have to be like a subpart, but you buy together. Right? So third one is my consumer income. Nice. So consumer income, we denote this with the letter Y. So how does this work? Let's learn. So consumer income. Now, here we'll talk about a normal good first. I'll talk about what is a normal good in a while. So Lamai, if your income increases, what happens to the demand for your good? If people's income increases, they will now have more money. No, that means they can buy more and more goods. So if income increases, and the demand will increase. People will buy more and more. What happens the other way then? What if Lama, you lose your job? What if your father loses his job or something? Right? What happens? If your income goes down, then what happens? And demand will Lama start to decrease. Right? Now, that type of a thing is what we call Lamai a normal good. So a normal good is a good that has a positive relationship between income and demand. If your income increase, you will buy more. Demand will increase. Income goes down, you will buy less. That's a normal good. But does all the goods behave like this, Lamai? When your income increases, does your demand always increase? Not really. There are certain goods that we call inferior goods. Now, for inferior goods, it works differently. Now, I'll take an example of something like a ceiling fan. Now, let's say in your house, right now in your house, let's say you all have, how much ceiling fans do you all have? I hope you all don't have an AC yet. I'll bring the AC later. How much of ceiling fans do you all have? 4, 5? 5. Depends on the how many halls and how much of floors and all of that you all have. Okay, let's say you have 5 ceiling fans. Now, let's say your father got a promotion. Let's say currently your father is earning 200,000 a month. Now, let's say he got a promotion and now he's not earning 200,000. Now, let's say he is earning 500,000. Right? Your father's got a promotion. Now, as a result of this, so your father got a promotion, Lamai, and the income increased. Will you buy more ceiling fans now? Are you going to buy more ceiling fans and now put a ceiling fan in your washroom wall? No. What are you going to do now? You're going to, Lamai, throw away your ceiling fan. And what do? You throw away your ceiling fan. And as a result, you end up buying a AC. No? You end up buying a AC. So when the income increased, Lamai, the demand for ceiling fans come down. Ceiling fans is an inferior good then. When income increased, people are buying less ceiling fans. Now, even think of Lamai, how many of you all what's the spread that you all use, Lamai? When you say spread, do you all use Astra? Do you all use Anchor Butter? What do you all use at home? So at our place, Lamai, we use Astra mainly. Astra, sometimes there is this new brand, no, Medol either. I can't remember. Right. So what we use is we use margarine. Right. That's most families, Lamai, you all use Astra margarine, hari, even Medol, that's also margarine. But if your income increases, Lamai, what will you switch to? Do you think you will still buy Astra margarine? No, neither. You might now switch to the superior one. What's the superior version of margarine? You might switch to Lamai butter. Let's say Anchor Butter, Hari, Highland, Hari, some posh butter. Butter tastes a bit better than margarine, and it's a bit more healthier also. So, under that's what's happening, When your income increases, what happens? The demand for margarine will come down. People are not buying margarine now because margarine is the inferior good. Same thing works the other way, Lamai. Now, maybe you might switch to cheese also. Who knows? What if, Lamai, your income goes down? Let's say right now you all were people who were eating butter and cheese kaka hiti. You all were eating butter and all of that. Now your father lost his job and now 500,000 which your father was earning has now come down to 100,000. Now what will you all do now? You all will stop buying the butter. You will switch back to margarine now, no? If your income reduces, you will buy more and more inferior goods. You will buy more margarine. So demand for margarine will start increasing. And that is what you call an inferior good. See, a normal good has a positive relationship between income and demand. An inferior good has a negative relationship between income and demand. We'll go into this more detail today in that tube that I told you to have. So this substitution effect, income effect, we'll go there a bit more detail. Right. 3 determinants done. If you want, Lama, you can take a screenshot. Right. Inferior good, how you define it, Lama? It's a good that has a negative relationship between income and demand. That's what you call inferior good. So just to repeat, what's a normal good? A normal good is where, Lama, when your income increases, demand will also increase. A positive relationship with income and demand. What's an inferior good? An inferior good is where when income increases, demand will come down. People will buy less of it. That has a negative relationship between income and demand. Okay. So then the first 3 done. What is the 4th one, Lavai? What do you have after this? Consumer taste and preferences. So number 4, you have consumer taste and preferences. So now if you take my consumer taste and preferences, let's say this one, here you can't say my increase, decrease. Consumer taste, increase, decrease, what you can say is my favorable, unfavorable taste. So if you have, let's say, favorable consumer taste, what do you think will happen to your demand? Now this consumer taste and all gets this thing with a lot of advertising and all. Now I'll again connect tuition classes for this. Now, there are certain tuition classes. Now, for example, my tuition class is comparatively very boring. Now, if you look at my class right now, you're sitting in front of a screen. You can't see who is there. Now, I have even set the messages to host only. So you don't even see who is texting. Some of you all think no one is texting. I'm getting around 100 messages every single minute. Right? Some people think, no one is texting. No, I will also not text. So you have no idea what is happening. You can't even see me physically. You just see a small picture of me here. I'm on the screen, very boring thing. But if you look at so many other classes out there, right? You have physical classes, they sing songs in the class. Sir keeps on telling jokes the whole time, right? The jokes go on TikTok calls. Sir gives life advices, right? The teacher talks about how to find a girlfriend, how to manage a relationship, right? All of those happens, no? And then you have so many other events after that, right? You have batch parties, you have class trips, you have, I don't know, all of that. So now those are things now that affects consumer taste, right? So things like that, right? Now things like I know a batchmate of mine. He does my single and medium classes. Okay, so this guy every term we have a term exam. Every term this fellow has a batch trip. Right? So he at uni is my uni friend. And at uni time also he was into this hiking and all of that. Every term the fellow has a batch trip. So now my 2027 batch, I just started the 2027 batch. The 2027 batch, now that fellow I saw his one of his status. The 2027 batch has already gone on trip polls. Imagine. My 2027 batch, not even 1 or 2 months started the class. The fellows have got together, they've gone on trip polls. And that's consumer taste. See, that's how that works. So when you have now for those now people who are into those, they will go for those classes. So that's the point there, right? So if you have favorable consumer taste, what happens? Demand for those classes will increase. But let's say when there is unfavorable consumer taste, maybe let's say, for example, a boring class like mine, what happens? The demand starts coming down. Now, my class is like this. Now, my class, always the story is this. Story is always very similar. At the beginning, I don't have much kids. At the beginning, everyone wants a physical class. At the beginning, everyone wants a jolly, fun teacher to go to a physical class, meet your friends, all of that. Then 1-2 years down the line, fellows realize now it's a little bit too hard, right? These things are piling up. I have missed a few classes. Now I can't catch up, nothing to do. And then what happens? And now they come and drop me a text and say, sir, can I join your online class? Not that I'm targeting this at anyone. That happens, now. That's usually the story. Now, even in my 25 batch right now, when I started the batch, there was around 30-40 students. Now there is around 350 people. So towards the end only, they realize online is very easy. This fellow is giving the recording also. I don't have to dress and go also. I save a lot of time. Then I can stay at home and study. Right? The recording is also there. Missunat prasnak, everything is there. Fine. It works. And that happens. So that's consumer taste. Based on consumer taste, things start changing. So if you have favorable, like for example, that teacher becomes a trend and the hype, demand increases. But then if that is not the trend, the demand starts going, that's consumer taste. What is that after? What do you have number 5? So you have consumer taste and preferences, then you have like future expectations. Now, future expectations is a very interesting part. Okay? Future price expectations. So mainly we look at price expectations. Expectations. Now understand this properly. So we say we can say what's the letter I have given? PF or FP on the theory tilt? Sorry, X, no, right? Sorry, expectations. You can say expectations. Okay, now here, let's say, now have you all realized every month on the 1st of the month, fuel prices change? Have you all realized that? On the 1st of every month, petrol, diesel, kerosene prices change. This was not happening earlier, Lamai. The reason for this is right now, Lamai, the IMF has told us to have something called cost reflective pricing. I'll just give you a little bit because you're econ students. So why does this happen? Now, if you looked at earlier, let's say around few years ago, what happened is, Lamai, the government had a fixed price. Government was, let's say, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, CPC, with the petrol sheds and all of it. They were, Lamai, selling, let's say, petrol at 100 rupees. So this is the selling price. Don't write this down. Huh? They were selling petrol at 100. So the petrol we don't make, we import. So the petrol that we import, the price of it can change based on the exchange rate, based on what is happening in the world market, oil market. So based on that, prices can change. So sometimes we are importing the petrol for 150 rupees, but we are selling it at only 100. Sometimes we are importing at 80 rupees, but still selling at 100. So you buy it at different prices, but you had a fixed price. Earlier, we had something called administered prices. We learn this in later unit number 7 and all. We'll talk a little bit about administered prices. Now, as a result of this, what happened, our state-owned enterprises like the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, they made huge losses, Our government businesses like the Petroleum Corporation, crazy loss. They are importing petrol at, let's say, 160 a liter. They are giving it at 100. Government had fixed the price and kept. So now with the IMF coming, IMF said, look here, you can't do this nonsense anymore. Now you can't have administered prices. You need to have cost reflective pricing. You need to have what? Cost reflective pricing. Your price has to reflect your actual cost. So now, let's say if we import a petrol liter for 100 rupees, we might sell it for 105. We might keep a small profit margin and we might sell. If we import it, let's say for 80 rupees, and we might sell it for 85. If let's say prices in the world go up, let's say we are importing for 150 and we might sell for 155. See, now we have what? We have cost reflective pricing. Now that is why every month, Lamai, fuel prices change. That is who is the IMF? What is the IMF? We'll learn Lamai unit number 10. Don't worry if you've not heard about this. So now you go and see Lamai on the first of each month, the news, you will see prices have changed. It might not be big changes, maybe 5 rupees, 10 rupees, that is there. Not because of the debt that we own to them, because they're just guiding us. Because when we had this administered prices, our fellows were making huge losses. So IMF is like a doctor, Lamai. Comes and tells you, do this for our own betterment. That's how that works. So at the beginning of the month, it works, Lamai. So at the start of the month itself, you set the correct price. So that entire month, you charge the proper price there. That's the story of cost reflective pricing. So now we'll come back to this. This is not a loss. No. They get their cost. For that, they had a small profit margin and they sell. And that is fine. Yeah, the regional tax, all of that is there. We'll talk about. So taxes and all, unit number 8. Okay, so I'll come to my point. Forget about the cost reflective pricing. Now let's say, Lamai, today is the 30th of, now this is July. Let's say today we'll go a little bit into the future. Today is the 30th of July. Now I know 1st of August, prices will change a little. Now let's say I know that tomorrow, that is the 1st of August, the future price of petrol will increase. I know tomorrow, now today is the 30th. Tomorrow I know 1st of August, 1 liter that is 300, let's say will go for 400. What will I do today now? If I know that prices are going up tomorrow, what will I do? I know petrol prices are going up tomorrow. Taggala, I take my car and what do? I go and pump all as much as possible. I will pump the petrol. No, I'll put a full tank. If possible, I'll put to what? I'll put to a bottle also and I'll come and keep at home. So what happens? July is 31. Sorry. Okay. So if future prices are going to go up, what happens, Lamai? The current demand will increase. You will try to now itself buy everything and put. But what if it was the opposite? Right now, a liter of petrol is 300. What if you expect on the 1st of August, the liter will go to 250? If you expect the future price to go down, right? Will you, Lamai, go and pump petrol now itself? No, you will be like, now I don't want petrol, right? I will wait for 2 days and I will pump. So right now, what happens, Lamai? Remember, demand is right now at a given point of time. If you expect the future price to go down, Anna, your current demand, Lamai, will start going down. You will wait for the future. You will wait for the next day, the 1st of August to go and pump. Right now, you will not buy. Demand goes down. That is future price expectations. Clear? Good. Then we go into the next one. Number 6. What do we have after this? Number of buyers and the composition. So easy thing for me to relate to my classes. When you say number of buyers, Lamai, for me, number of students who are doing econ classes. So who are doing econ. So if the number of buyers increase, Lamai, that is easy. No? What will happen to my demand? Now, if more and more people are doing econ as a subject, what happens? And demand will increase. But let's say if the number of people reduce, let's say, for example, no one is doing English medium, everyone is now going and doing single medium. Now, English medium econ people, no one is there. What will happen to demand for my classes? Number of buyers means customers. Huh? So if there are no customers, if there are no buyers now, demand will start going down. No one is there to buy my. So that's a very easy thing. Right. What else? After this, you have future price expectation, positive relationship. Then you have lamai other factors. So anything apart from this. So other factors lamai you can't say other factors increase demand, increase kiyanna bෑ. So under other factors lamai you will have things like weather, right? You might have things like, for example, advertising, right? You might have so much of things, right? You might have global factors. If, for example, COVID-19, government policies, the government's taxes, the quality of the good, right? So there could be so much of other factors apart from these main six that can also affect. So for other factors, Lama, you have to product use common sense. Other factors, there could be 100 different factors. So for example, I'll say something like weather. If it is a very rainy season, what do you think will happen to the demand for ice cream? It's raining and pouring and very cold. What happens demand for ice cream? Demand for ice cream can go down. Annak product common sense පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕන ලවන්න. But what do you think happens to the demand for umbrellas in that season? Raining and cold and all of it, umbrella demand can increase. See, it might, you can't definitely say if it is raining, demand will decrease කියන්න බෑ. Because it depends on the type of good that you have. Right. So that is the determinants of demand, factors that determine the demand for a certain good. Cool. So I'll just, if you want to take a screenshot, you can take. So these slides, Lamai, what I will do now, usually last month classes were free. Ne? So what I did was I shared these slides on the WhatsApp group. Now, from now onwards, Lamai, it will be a little different. Now, it's a paid class, so you all are paying and coming. So I have to protect that as well, Lamai. So what I will do is from now onwards, Lamai, all the class recordings, all the slides, the answers for papers and all will be uploaded on our website. So just give us a day, right? We will sort access to the recordings for unit number 2 and we'll let you know. So I'll make on most of you all have used my website. For those who have not, we will create new accounts very soon. Then on the website, you will nicely systematically have it, Lamai. So because another reason that I don't send it on the group is Lamai, 1 year later, your WhatsApp is deleted. You have got a new phone. The file is no longer downloadable. 1 year later, fellows kept texting me, sir, can you send this file again, sir? This file I can't open, sir. That things happen. So usually within 24 hours, I will upload it onto the website. So the website, that if you have filled the registration form, our admin will sort it for you. Okay, so don't worry about that. Right. Okay, so that story is done. Okay. So this is there in your theory tute. You don't have to. I'm following the theory tute. For those who are not a part of my theory class, your other notes also will have the same story. That's why I'm not printing another note and giving. Okay. Now, this is the second one. If you all want to get a screenshot, if you want to. You don't want, no problem. Then I will now get into the law of demand. What is the law of demand? Law of demand is something that we already learned. The law of demand is telling us that there is a negative relationship between what and what? Between price and quantity demanded. So when the price of a good increases, quantity demand will come down. Negative, or we can call it like an inverse relationship. Same way, when the price goes down, QD will increase when other factors. Remember, Lamai, we talked about so many factors here. We talked about so many factors. So we are saying we are talking about the first factor here. When the price of a good increase, QD will come down. When the price goes up, price goes down, QD will increase if other factors are held constant. If other factors, price of substitute, income, all of that is constant, then there is a negative relationship at a given point of time. Right. So then this law of demand, that story you all know, right? Why is there a negative relationship? Why when the price increases, why does the QD come down? So that's an interesting story. So to explain the negative relationship, I'll talk about difference between demand and QD. That part is there. I'll come. So you have two main reasons. One is the substitution effect. So let me explain this in very simple terms. Please focus and understand. Don't go and write nonsense. Okay. Let's say, okay, we'll take my 2 tuition classes. My class and another search class. So, so this is me, right? Our search class. So I am charging my 5,000 rupees. And let's say there is another teacher, right? Whom do you want to make the other teacher? Mr. Can you give me an initial? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Mr. K? Right. So we have Mr. K. I'm not very sure whom I'm referring to, but okay. So we have, let's say, we have Mr. K as the other teacher that is there. Right. Let's say that person also charges a 5,000 rupees. Now let's say I decided to increase my class fees. What did I do? I decided my 5,000 is not enough. I am going to charge 6,000 rupees as my class fees. When I increase my class fees levels, now what did I do? I increased the price of my good. Now remember, substitution effect is where it's explaining the law of demand. Price of your good is changing. Other factors are constant. Now, some people go and write substitution effect is where price of the substitute is changing. Now, did I say Mr. K's price is changing? No, he's still charging 5,000. I am only increasing my price. Now, what happens now? When I increase my price, my class becomes comparatively expensive or cheap compared to Mr. K's class. My class is now relatively or comparatively expensive. So when I increase the price of my class, what happens? My class becomes relatively means comparatively, compared to the other good, relatively expensive. So now what will some of you all do then, Lamai? Now my class is expensive. No, other class is only 5,000. I am 6,000. What will some of you all do? Some of the consumers, Lamai, will now switch to that class. And substitution effect. You substitute my class and move to my substitute. So when the price of a good increases, Lamai, understand the story. When the price of a good increases, that good becomes relatively expensive. Then what do consumers do? Consumers will switch to the cheaper substitute. Yes, our good is the concerned good. When the price of the concerned good increases, the concerned good becomes relatively expensive. Therefore, consumers will now switch to the cheaper substitute. So when consumers switch, right, they will switch to the substitute. What happens to my quantity demand then? If people move to the cheaper substitute, my quantity demand will come down, decrease. See, negative relationship. Price increased, QD came down. And that is what you call the substitution effect. Now, what if the opposite happens? What if I reduce my class fees? Let's say I reduced my class fees to 4,000. Mr. K didn't change. Mr. K is still charging 5,000. If I reduced my class fees for 4,000, now my class is relatively cheaper or relatively more expensive compared to Mr. K's class. Compared to his class, I am cheap now, right? So my good becomes relatively cheap. As a result, what happens? As a result, people who are going to his class, what will they do? Consumers who are consuming the substitute, they will now switch to my good because I am cheap now. So consumers will now switch to the concerned good. Concerned good means my good. Huh? Concerned good. So as a result, what happens to my quantity demand? My quantity demand will start increase. And substitution effect. Price decrease, QD. So that is the substitution effect story level. So I'm not going word by word in the note. Remember, this is a recap I am doing, not a theory class. Now today, I am comparatively much more slower than what I did in unit number 1. Yeah. Because it's very important. That's why I don't want to rush it. I don't want to rush it and I know I finish the syllabus by February, but that doesn't mean I rush the class will go until 10. Okay. So then substitution effect is fine. That's one main reason for the law of demand, negative relations. What's the second reason? I want you all to give me an answer. What's the second? Why do you have a negative relationship between price and QD? The second reason is the income effect. So what is this income effect? Negative relationship. Price increase, QD will decrease. So what's income effect? Income effect is where am I? Now, for example, let's say, okay, now remember substitution effect, price of substitute did not change. Price of substitute did not change. How do you answer if there are substitution effect? What is there in the note? You can write. You can expand it and you can write it on your words. Okay. So then let's say, I am earning, let's say 5,000 rupees. This is my income. I am earning 5,000 rupees. From my income, let's say I don't buy anything else. I am buying, let's say, bread. Price of bread. Let's say right now, a loaf of bread is 100. So if a loaf of bread is 100, can you all roughly tell me if I use all my income to buy bread, how much of bread can I buy now? I am earning 5,000 rupees. Loaf of bread is 100. Then I can eat 50 bread. For a month, I can buy 50 bread. Right? QD can be 50. Now, let's say the price of bread increased. My income did not change. I am still earning 5,000. But now the price of bread increased. Now what happens, Lamai? Think and tell me, with my 5,000, can I buy the same amount of bread as before? No. What happened, Lamai? When the price of a good increases, what happens to a consumer's purchasing power? Another word for this is what you call, Lamai, real income. Purchasing power or real income means from your money, the amount of goods you can buy. Earlier with your 5,000, you can buy 50 bread. But now with my 5,000, what is the purchasing power of that 5,000? It has gone down. No, now I can't buy 50 bread. What happens? Yeah. Inferior goods, no, you can't define it as goods consumed by low income earners. How you define it is a good that has a negative relationship between income and income. Okay. Right. So then when the price of a good increases, what happens? Consumers' purchasing power or real income reduces. Now they can't afford a lot. As a result, now what happens to quantity demand? Quantity demand will go down. So maybe now if I am to use all my income for bread, now how much of bread can I buy? If the price of bread is 200 rupees, now I can only buy 25 bread. See, QD has come down. Price increase, QD decrease. Law of demand. Same thing the other way. What if, Lamai, the price of the bread comes down to, let's say, around 50 rupees. Now with my 5,000, how much of bread I can buy? Now what happens to my purchasing power? I'll just say PP, yeah? PP or real income, RY. Now what happens to my purchasing power or real income? Now it increases. Now with my 5,000 rupees, I can buy a lot of bread. No? So as a result, what happens to my quantity demand? Quantity demand, now I can afford to buy 100 bread. Maybe for a day, I can eat around 3 bread. So then price reduces, QD increases. Negative and inverse means same thing, correct? Okay. That is, Lamai, what you call the income effect. When the price of a good changes, consumers' real income changes. As a result, the QD ends up changing. That is the story there. Right. Now we learned substitution effect. We learned income effect. What are those? They are, Lamai, the reasons for the law of demand. Nominal income means your salary level. So when you say nominal income, this is nominal income. Nominal income is constant. Now, don't confuse Lamai. Nominal income, another name for this is what you call money income. So money income or nominal income is constant. When the price changes, it's your real income. That is the one that is changing. Real income, in other words, real income can your purchasing power. So just to summarize that. Now, when the price of a good increase with your salary, the amount of that good you can buy is low. Now, let's say I have 5,000 rupees. That is my nominal income, money income. 5,000 rupees. When the bread was 100, I bought 50 bread. Can buy any. But if the price of a bread increased to 200, now with my 5,000, I can't buy 50 nilamai. Now with my 5,000, I can only afford to buy 25 loaves of bread. So see, my purchasing power has come down. Purchasing power again, with your money, how much goods you can buy. The best example I can give you is, now you all might hear your grandparents. Your grandparents might tell, earlier may ape kale, in our days, if you go to the grocery with 100 rupees, we can buy so much of things and come, right? We can buy, 3-4 bags of groceries and come. But now with 100 rupees, what can you do? So what's the difference, Lamai? That 100 and this 100 is the same. But in your grandparents' time, that 100 had a lot of purchasing power. Because at that point, now my goods were very cheap. So with your 100 rupees, you can buy a lot of goods. But now since prices of goods have gone up, now with that 100 rupees, same 100 rupees, the purchasing power has gone down. That's what I'm saying. So when prices go up, exactly, inflation, we learn in number 7, purchasing power comes down. As a result, QD reduces. Opposite also works the other way around. Right. That real value, exactly. Then now, Lamai, I want you. SE has a negative relationship income as possible. No. So both are negative, Lamai. So here when price increase, QD will reduce. Price increase, QD do same thing. There also. Both are proving the negative relationship. What is diminishing marginality? Not really needed in your syllabus. Lamai. Diminishing marginality is where the more and more you consume a good, the satisfaction you get from it will come down. No, real and nominal income is not the same now. So nominal income is this 5,000. Nominal income is your salary. Real income is your purchasing power. With that salary, how much of goods you can buy. That's what you call real income. You think price of goods and services will ever return to the level that was before? Not really. Okay. Yes, I'll give you a break. Then, well, I will now do this part here. So I want y'all, this part is a very important part, Lamai. I have not taught you this in the theory class because it is a bit of an advanced area. So if I would have taught you that in theory, the whole thing becomes a entire mess and you start hating unit number 2. So that's why I usually skip this part in the theory class and I teach this part in the revision class. So that is why I would have given a YouTube video. Yes, some of you all would have watched that. So I want your Lamai to take this tube. Which tube? Let me find the tube. The one that I sent a picture. Where is the tube? I'm trying to find it. This one. So there is a blank tube that you have. My tube is missing. Hold on. Searching. Yes. Okay, I can't find my tube. Because here around 5 minutes ago, now it's missing. Okay, never. So you can find yours now. Fallen notes. So on your inside your file, Lamai, you will have a tute, which is a 4-page A3 sheet that looks like this, Lamai, that has this tute. So something called the price effect, the substitution, income and price effect for a normal inferior at given good. I have not taught you this before. How many of you know this properly? Yes, your school teacher or someone probably taught you. You properly, ideally know how this exactly works. Yes, you're confident that you know this. Yes. Yes, and one more thing, right? So for you to, one good thing for you to figure out whether you actually know something, one way is to do some past papers. The other way is, Lamai, try teaching it to someone else. Now, if you really know something very well, you should be able to teach it to someone else without any problem. Whatever questions that they ask, you should be able to answer. If you can do that, that means you know the whole story, Lamai. Now, I remember when I was doing A levels also. So I also used to teach my friends, Lamai. So in school, right, I help them out, right? I do that. And one way, yes, they also get benefited. But the other way, Lamai, on my end, I remember stuff. And then I realize I can't teach this means then I don't know this. So that's another good strategy, Lamai, to see whether you actually understand stuff. So if you're someone who is a bit of a smart case, teach your friends, Lamai, especially in school and all, teach them. It will help you remember. And also it will help you figure out whether you know it or not. Yeah, cool. So then this part, Lamai, this substitution income and price effect, this story was introduced, Lamai, into the syllabus in 2019. Now, before this also, this was there. But before this, how you interpreted this was different. Before 2019, when you talked about substitution effect, income effect, price effect, for these three goods, it was explained in a different way. Now, when I was doing A levels, my teachers would have explained this to me in a different way. But from 2019 onwards, with the new syllabus coming in, how this is explained is now changed. Now, most of the teachers now, 2019, now it's 5 years later. Now, most of them have figured this out. But initially, my teachers were also confused. Now, I have had multiple teachers. I have explained this story and I have, yeah, I also didn't know. When I was doing LLs, I had never had no idea what this is. So I think I would have told you all this before also, right? So there were a few multiple teachers. Now I have explained this time because it's a bit of a technical area. I have put this on YouTube also. So there are multiple teachers whom I once met. They recognized me and they told me, sir, we watched your YouTube video and now only we also understood the story. So it is a bit of a technical area. Some teachers also teach this part without properly knowing it. So if teachers are itself like that, you realize that even if you sometimes not know it, it's not a problem. So I'll give you the overall story. Before that, after I'll give you a break. And then only I'll get to the tune, don't worry. So what we are going to learn now is, Lamai, we are going to learn how this income substitution effect, income effect, the combination of these two is what we call, Lamai, the price effect. How the income substitution and the price effect, Lamai, changes for these different types of goods. For a normal good, how does it work? For a inferior good, how does it work? For a given good, how does it work? Right after I teach you this, I want you to listen very carefully. I'll teach this like you are learning the first time because I have not taught this to you. And then, Lamai, I'm going to put you into A-level past paper questions. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You listen to my explanation carefully, and then we'll see how many of y'all can get these MCQs right. From this 5, after listening, if you can at least get 3 of these 5 right, I will be very proud of you. It is a technical here. So before we get into it, now I will need around an hour to explain the whole story. Do you want a break? It's 8:24. Recordings, Lamai, will be uploaded on the website. You will get access to it soon. Shall I take a small break then? Since most want. Right. So now it's 8:24. For this part, Lamai, I will take an hour. I have another small part to do as well. So shall we take a break until 8:35? I'll give you 10 minutes. So walk around, get some water. If you're hungry, Tagala, put something into your mouth and come back by 8:35. We'll start this substitution effect, income effect story for the 3 types of goods. Very, very important. So come back by 8:30. Okay, so we get started, Lama, with this important thing. So once again, take this tute out, right? I want you all to do this with me. So take this tute out, the tute that says substitution, income, and price effect. We're going to learn this. Along with me, you can fill, but I want you to understand the story first. You can even do the writing later. That's not an issue. Okay. Now, so we're going to talk about how does these 3 effects, so substitution plus income together is what you call the price effect. How do these 3 change for a normal, inferior, and a given good. So I'll start off with this. Lamai, when it comes to the substitution effect, we look at the relationship. We look at what? The relationship between relative price. I'll just say rel price and quantity demand. Or when we talk about substitution effect, we look at Lamai, the relationship between the relative price of the good and the quantity demand of that good. I will explain that. Don't worry. When we talk about Lamai income effect, we talk about the relationship, right? We talk about the relationship between real income. Real income, another word for real income, Lamai, is purchasing power. Real income and quantity. And finally, when we talk about the price effect, we talk about the relationship between price, right? Price and quantity demanded. So let me now explain that story to you. What on earth did I write? Substitution effect, you look at the relationship between price and relative price and quantity demand. Income effect, relationship between real income and quantity demand. In price effect, we talk about the relationship between price and quantity demanded. So remember, the substitution effect plus the income effect is what we call the price. So let me explain one by one. Okay. I want you all, Lamai, to give me answers on the chat box. So then you will remember it better. And I know that you have understood. Okay. Can you all tell me, if I decrease my price, let's say if you decrease your price, now I'm in the decrease price story. So what happens if you decrease your price? Okay. What happens, Lamai, to the relative price of your good? If I reduce my class fees, now my class is relatively cheaper, or is it relatively more expensive than the others? Let's say I reduce my class fees. I reduce my class fees to 4,000. If I reduce my class fees, my class becomes relatively cheaper. So what happens, Lamai? When you decrease the price of a good, the relative price of that good also decreases. That's what I want you all to figure out. When you reduce the price of a good, the relative price also reduces. The good becomes relative price reducing, means good is cheaper compared to others. Now you're more cheaper. So when the relative price of a good reduces, Lamai, when your good is cheaper, what happens to the quantity demanded for your good? Now, when my class is comparatively more cheaper than other people's classes, what happens to the quantity demand for my good? The quantity demand for my good will increase. Now, I told you, when talking about the substitution effect, we look at the relationship between relative price and QD. Can you tell me, is there a positive or a negative relationship here? Relative price is coming down, QD is increasing. The two variables are going on opposite directions, no? Relative price reduces, QD increases. That means there is a negative relationship. Therefore, we say, Lamai, what do we say? We say the substitution effect is negative. We have a negative substitution effect. Why am I saying negative? Because we talk about, I told you over here, the relationship between relative price and QD. When the price of a good, listen carefully again, relative price means the price of your good compared to the others. So listen again. Now, if I decrease my price, so look at where the circles are going. I'm going in order. If I decrease my class fees, what happens? If I decrease my class fees, my class becomes comparatively, relatively cheaper than the other class. No, let's say there are two teachers. I am also charging 5,000. That sir is also charging class fees 5,000. I decreased my price. That is my first circle here. If I decrease my price, what happens? My class becomes relatively cheaper. That's what I'm saying. The relative price also comes down. What is relative price, Lamai? Price of your good compared to other goods. So if I reduce my class fees to 3,000 rupees, then compared to other people, I am cheap. No? Relatively, I am cheap. So my relative price comes down. Remember, if you reduce your price of your good, your relative price also comes the same way it goes. So when your good is relatively more cheaper, what happens? Now people will come to buy your good. No, your good is relatively cheaper. No? So as a result, what happens? Quantity demand increases. Then how do we figure out the substitution effect? I told you to figure out whether the substitution effect is positive or negative. What do we look at? You look at the relationship between relative price and QD. Relative price is coming down, QD is going up. The variables are going on opposite directions. That means there is a negative substitution effect. That's the first point. Now, the more and more we fill this lemma, you will get the hang of it. Don't worry. So you can write it along with me. You can write it later. That doesn't matter. Now we'll go to lemma income effect. Same story. If I reduce my class fees, or let's say you forget about class fees now. If prices of a good comes down, okay, if prices come down, what will happen, Lamai, to a consumer's real income? Real income, or in other words, we call this purchasing power. If goods become cheap, purchasing power, does it increase or decrease? If goods became cheap, prices decreased. Prices decreased. Now with your money, you can buy more goods, right? Your purchasing power will increase, right? Now, when your purchasing power increased, your real income increased. Now, we're talking about a normal good, remember. So, normal good, when your income, right, real income increase, what do you think happens to your quantity demanded? Normal good. Normal good. Real income increase. Now, what do you do, You go and buy more and more, no? So, quantity demand will increase. And how do you figure out the income effect? Income effect, you look at the relationship between real income and quantity demand. Real income is increasing, quantity demand is increasing. Therefore, the income effect is a positive or negative. We have a positive income, right? So, Adnam, you write that down. What income effect? You have a positive income. So now look at this lemon. Real income is affordability, correct? Right. Now, the price effect is a combination of what? Price effect, Lamai, is a combination of these two. The substitution effect and the income effect together is what you call the price effect. So price effect, you look at the overall relationship. Right? Now, look at this. When the price of the good decreases, based on the substitution effect, they are saying, look here, we are going to increase QT. Income effect is saying, yeah, based on us also, QD will increase. Both of this combined is what you call the price effect. So then based on the price effect, when the price of a good reduces, what will happen to quantity demand? Price effect is the combination of those two things that I have circled, income effect and substitution. Substitution effect is saying, yes, we will also increase. Income is saying, yeah, based on us also, it will increase. So that means, Lamai, overall QD will increase. When the price comes down, QD will start increase. So then what can you tell about the price effect for a normal good? The price effect for a normal good, is it positive or negative? You look at the relationship between price and QD now. Negative. So you have a negative price effect. So that's how, Lama, you look at this things. That's how sometimes in papers when you read and all, you will see they say income effect is positive, substitution effect is negative. What does that mean is what I'm trying to explain. So once again, price effect. What is price effect, Lama? Price effect is the overall relationship. It's the combination of these two. So price effect looks at when the price of this good decreases. Now we are talking about a decrease in price first. No? When the price of the good decreases, what happens to QD? So substitution effect is saying, look here. Oops. Substitution effect is saying, look here, QD will increase. Income effect is saying, yes, based on us also, QD will increase. So that means it's the combination of these two put together. That means QD will go up. We'll go to inferior good later. So here, if you want, now, when you all learn this, especially for, let's say, like microecon for a uni level, numbers will also come. I'll just give a little bit numbers. It makes it a little bit more easier. There are graphs also. Graphs now I will not teach. So here, for example, substitution effect is saying, based on us, QD will increase by 50. If the price reduces, QD will go up by 50. Income effect is saying based on us also, QD will go up by 50. So addition of these two is what you call the price effect. Numbers won't come in your errors, don't worry. QD will increase here by 100. It's a combination of these two is what you get as a price effect. There are a few questions that may come. Relative price again, relative price price of your good compared to another good. Relative to another good. Compared to that one, what is your price? Is your price expensive? Is your price cheap? That's what you call relative. Inferior good, we have not gone to inferior good. When the price decrease, why do we take real income increase? So that's something that I have to ask you. So when the price of a good comes down, the amount that you can buy goes up, right? Real income means your purchasing power. So when goods become cheap, now you can buy more. No? So when goods become cheap, prices go down, your real income or your purchasing power increases. You can buy more goods now. That's why we say when price comes down, real income increases. That's the story there. So then remember, Lamai, now this I'll give you this thing also. In your mock revision paper number 5, there is this exact table asking you to explain these effects. In your paper, when they ask you to explain these effects, you can't write arrows and put up and down. No. Okay. So I will give it to you for one. If you want to write it down, you can write it in your own words. So let me explain. Right now, I'm going to explain to you how do you write this box in a paragraph. If you want, write it down. If you don't want, that's up to you. Okay. How do you write this in a paragraph? So I'm going to say, now that is what, remember in your paper, don't write arrows and all. I'm not going to give you full marks. So I will say, Lamai, when the price of a normal good, listen, when the price of a normal good decreases, the relative price of that good will also decrease. When the price of a normal good decreases, its relative price will also decrease. As a result of this, the quantity demanded for this normal good will increase. As a result of this, the quantity demanded for this normal good will increase. Therefore, when the price of a good decreases, there is a negative substitution effect for a normal good. We can say, therefore, for a normal good, when the price of a good decreases, the substitution effect would be negative. And something like that is what you have to write down, because in your A-level paper, you're not going to get a table like this, right? In your A-level paper, now I have given these boxes. Any few of these boxes, they can ask you to explain. For example, they can ask you to explain, okay, explain how for a normal good, when the price of a good decreases, what will happen? Based on the substitution effect, explain what will happen. And then that box is what you have to explain. So I'll repeat that once again. You write in your own words now. You don't have to exactly write my one. So let me write that. Let me repeat that. So for a normal good, when the price of the good decreases, for a normal good, when the price of the good decreases, the relative price of the good also decreases. As a result, what happens? The quantity demanded for the good will increase. This means that there is a negative substitution effect for a normal good when the price decreases. You can write that in multiple ways, Lamai, right? So the first thing that I dictate will be different for this. So for this price change, that is the story. Then same thing, Lamai, now you can write for income effect. So for income effect, relative price talks about the price of the concerned good compared to the other goods. So income effect, same story. You can say for a normal good, when the price of the good decreases, what happens? Consumers' real income will increase. In other words, consumers' purchasing power will increase. As a result of this, the quantity demanded will also rise. Consumers' purchasing power has gone up, therefore QD will increase. What does that mean? That means that, or this means that there is a positive income effect for a normal good when the price of a good decreases. So in your words, Lamai, the main points have to be there. Now, don't expect me to spoon feed the answer for you, Lamai, because that means you're very, very weak. You ideally should not be a student who is doing A-levels if you can't still figure that out. You don't have to write exactly my words. If you understood the logic, Lamai, you should be able to come up with your own words. And that is what I want you to do. Then the last one. Last one for Lamai is something like price effect, you can say. When the price of a good decreases, QD will increase. Therefore, there is a negative price effect for a normal good. And then you can give something like price of good decreases. You don't even have to say substitute price constant. Price will decrease. Yeah, fine. That looks good. Okay. Then we'll go into my increase in price. Now, if you understood the decrease, you should be able to easily give me an answer for this. Okay. Can you quickly give me an answer for this? What happens? What happens when there is an increase in the price? When, let's say, I increased my class fees. If I increased my class fees, what happens to the relative price? Price of my class compared to other classes. Price of my class compared to other classes. If I increase my class fees, I am more expensive, no? My relative price will increase. If I increase price, relative price will increase. Then, if my relative price increases, what will happen to my quantity demand? Now, I am relatively more expensive than other classes. What will happen to my quantity demand? My quantity demand will go down. So then my relative price increasing, quantity demand decreasing. There is a what effect? Positive or negative substitution. Look at the relations. One variable is increasing, other variable is decreasing. So you have a negative substitution effect again. Negative substitution. Right. Then go to income effect. When the price of a good increases, what will happen to my consumers' real income? Or in other words, their purchasing power. Now, prices go up. If prices increase, now what happens to the amount of goods you can buy with your money? Your purchasing power will start to come down. Your real income is coming down. When your real income comes down, we are talking about a normal good. Normal good. Income comes down. What happens to quantity demand? Quantity demand will decrease. So that means, there is a what? Income effect. Real income decreasing, quantity demand also decreasing. Both the variables are going in the same direction, meaning there is a positive income. Positive income effect. So then, can you all tell me, hey, R is real income. Then, overall the price effect. Now, price effect is the combination of the two. Substitution effect is saying, yes, based on us also, QD will come down. QD will decrease. Income effect is saying, based on us also, yes, QD will come down. So then overall, what do you think? If the price of a good increases, what will happen to QD? For a normal good, QD will decrease. It's a combination of these two. No? QD will start coming down. So if I want to put some numbers, let's say now my substitution effect is saying, based on us, QD will fall by 20. Income effect is saying, based on us also, without 20 behind. That means overall, when the price increase, let's say QD will fall by 40. That is the story there. So then what is the relationship? Positive or negative? The price effect. This is again negative, right? Price increasing, QD decreasing. So you say negative price effect, right? So remember a few things, Lamai. What does negative price effect mean? Negative price effect means, Lamai, that the good complies with the law of demand. Law of demand is saying there is a negative relationship between price and QD. So if you have a negative price effect, price reducing, QD increasing, or let's say the other way, price increasing, QD reducing. If a good has a negative price effect, what does that mean? Make notes. I all make notes on your. If a good has a negative price effect, what does that mean? That means that good is complying with the law of demand. It complies with the law of demand. So that's what I'm explaining. When prices increase, QD goes down. Exactly. That's what I'm also saying. So I'm breaking that down and explaining that in more in detail. Yeah. The powerful part I'll come. For here, for normal good, both are equally powerful. Okay. Here, there's an increase in price of a concern. Yeah, the concern good prices is one. Okay, is that okay, Lama? That's the, I'll turn the screen around this side if you want to write. We'll do inferior and given, and then I'll whole summarize. I'll give you some shortcuts to remember this also. Don't worry. That is the normal good story. It is tested, Lama. No, you can write in Lama. You can write in the in your revision papers and all. You can't put arrows here in your revision papers. Lama, you are writing paragraph format. Now. Okay. Then we'll go into an inferior good. Listen. So once we do this, I'll answer some questions. I think once we do it multiple times, most of your questions will get answered, right? So I'm skipping a few questions on the chat box. Don't worry. After we do it, if you still have that doubt, ask again. Okay. Now, this is easy, For an inferior good, again, same thing. Remember, substitution effect, we look at what? Relative price and QD. What is the relationship between these two? Income effect, we look at the relationship between real income. Now, I'm just writing short forms, same thing. Real income and QD. Here we look at the relationship between price and QD. Okay. Now, inferior good. Think of something like ceiling fans or margarine. Think of something like that. Ordinary good here, there's nothing there. That's probably when they translate some papers from Tamil to Sinhala to English, they might come. So they ideally will be referring to normal goods. Yeah. So what happens, Lamai, when the price of an inferior good decreases? Let's say margarine will. Now margarine prices have gone down. Let's say there are multiple margarine brands. Astra, Medoli. There are, let's say, around 3-4 margarine brands. Prices of Astra has gone down. So if the price of Astra goes down, what happens to Astra's relative price limit? Price of Astra compared to the other margarines now. Astra is cheaper or expensive? If Astra reduces their price, Astra will be cheaper, no? Your relative price of Astra will go down. So if Astra is now cheaper compared to, let's say, Medolio, whatever other margarine brands you have, what do you think will happen to the quantity demanded for Astra? Relative price is cheap. Again, people who are buying that one, who are buying Medoli, who are buying those, they will come and buy yours now. No? So then QD will increase. And what is the effect? Relative price reducing, QD increasing. Substitution effect is positive or negative. You have a negative substitution. Done. Now we'll go to income effect. Now this is where it changes. Remember, inferior good. So example is my margarine. So let's say Astra margarine reduces their price. Now Astra margarine has become cheap. So when Astra margarine becomes cheap, what happens to consumers' real income? Real income, or in other words, we call this purchasing power. What happens? It increases now when Astra is cheap. Now you can buy more, right? But what happens for an inferior good level? When your income increases, and income or a real income, think of it in the same way. For an inferior good, when your income or real income increases, what happens to Q dilemma? Inferior good. We learned this earlier. Inferior good. When income increases, QD will decrease. Anna, what can you tell about Lamai? The income effect now. Real income increasing, QD decreasing. Income effect is also negative. Negative income effect. Now, this is where it becomes interesting now. The price effect. Okay. Right. So just to summarize that again, what are we looking at here, Lamai? When the price of Astra decreases. Yes, inferior good, Lamai. We talked about inferior good 1 hour ago. So inferior good is a good, Lamai, that has a negative relationship between income and demand. Okay. So usually when people's income increases, they will buy less of it. That's what you call inferior. So here, when the price of Astra reduces, okay, consumers' real income increases. Now consumer becomes better off. Their purchasing power is higher. So when consumers' real income increase, we're talking about an inferior good level. Inferior good. When real income increase, what happens? QD will come down. Because remember, inferior goods have a negative relationship between income and QD. Real income or nominal income, there's a negative relation. So that's negative income effect. Now, look at this. Price effect, Lamai, is the combination of these two. Listen carefully. Substitution effect is saying when the price decrease, based on us, QD will increase. That's what the substitution effect is saying. Based on us, QD will go up. Income effect is saying, look here, when the price decreases, based on us, QD will reduce. So then, what do you think is the price effect, Lamai? When there is a decrease in the price for an inferior good, what will happen to QD? Substitution effect is saying QD will increase. Income effect is saying, no, QD will reduce. The combination of these two is only the price effect. What do you think happened? What do you think happened? Will it be constant? Will something happen? What is going to happen? Now you have to see, Lamai, who is stronger? Is the substitution effect more stronger? Substitution effect is saying, no, it will increase. Income effect is saying, no, it will reduce. But who is stronger from these two? For the inferior good, Lamai, remember, the negative substitution effect is stronger than the negative income effect. How? That is something, Lama, you all will learn at microecon university level. You all will learn that. I am not going there. Why is this stronger? Not needed. It's a more complex thing, Lama. You have to draw a graph and all and explain, not something I can explain in a minute or two. There is complex graphs to explain that story, so I'm not going there. So remember, for an inferior good, the negative substitution effect is more stronger than the negative income effect. I'll put numbers and explain, it becomes easy. Okay. So if I put some numbers here, watch carefully. Substitution effect is saying, look here, if the price decrease based on us, QD will increase by 100 plus 100. Income effect is saying based on us, no, QD will decrease. But they are saying it will decrease by, let's say, 60. This one's increase is more stronger than this one's decrease. That's what I'm trying to prove you. The negative substitution effect is more powerful than the negative income effect. So price effect is the combination of these two. Substitution effect is saying QD will increase by 100. Income effect is saying QD will reduce by 60. Then overall, what will happen to QD? It will increase or decrease. It will increase. Increase by how much? It will increase by 40. See? Increase by 40. That is the story for an inferior good line. So what can you tell about the price effect for an inferior good? Price effect for an inferior good is negative. Now, I told you something before, Lamai. What does that mean? Does the inferior good comply with the law of demand or not? It complies. If you have a negative price effect, means it complies with the law of demand. You will have a downward sloping demand curve. And that makes complete nice sense there. Right. Now, so then we'll move into Lamai, the other side of it. What happens if the price increases? If the price of an inferior good increase, now we can go a bit faster. What happens? What happens to the relative price? Now, Anchor anyway. Astra has gone and increased their price. Now Astra is relatively expensive than others, no, than Medoli and all of that. And Astra is expensive. Relative price increases. So when Astra becomes expensive, relative price goes up. What happens to the amount of people who buy Astra? That will reduce, no? Content demand will come down. QD will reduce. So then, Lamai, what can you tell about the substitution effect? Positive or negative? Substitution effect is, they will not ask you why substitution effect down. Substitution effect is negative. Negative substitution effect. Now we'll go into, Lamai, the income effect. When Astra prices go up, when the prices of Astra increase, what will happen, Lamai, to consumers' real income? Or in other words, purchasing power. Now, Astra is very expensive. So now with your money, the amount of Astra you can buy would have come down, right? Real income comes down. Now this is where again you think of inferior. Inferior, Lamai. When your income comes down, what happens to QD? Inferior good. Inferior good is a good that has a negative relationship between income and QD. And real income coming down, QD will increase. So what can you tell about, Lamai, the income effect when the price increases? Again, negative. Negative income effect. Negative income Alright. So just to summarize that part again. So when the price of Astra increases, lamai, what happens? Consumers' real income, purchasing power will come down. Ramai, when the price of a good increase, lamai, your purchasing power will come down. Always remember that. Because when prices are expensive, now you can't buy a lot. No? So when price of a good increases, no matter what the good is, purchasing power will come down. Real income comes down. Now, inferior good. No? So when your income comes down, what happens for an inferior good? You buy more and more of it. Real income coming down, QD will increase. QD increases. So real income coming down, QD increasing, that's a negative effect there. Then the overall effect. Overall price effect. So if the price of a good increases, what will happen to QD? If real income decrease, this will decrease. That is for a normal good. This is an inferior good. No? Inferior good has a negative relationship between income and demand. So it will go the other way. So here, substitution effect is saying based on us, look here, QD has to reduce. Income effect is saying no, based on us, QD has to increase. Both of these put together is what you call the price effect. But who is more dominant? I told you, for an inferior good, lamai, the negative substitution effect is powerful. So if I give some numbers, substitution effect is saying, look here, QD will fall by 50. Income effect is saying, no, QD will increase by 10. Or let's say I'll give another number. QD will increase by, let's say, 15. So overall, what will happen? Substitution effect is saying it will fall by 50. These fellows will say, no, it will increase by 15. Overall, it falls by a 35. Reduces by 35. So Anna, QD will decrease. So what type of a price effect? You have a price is increasing, QD is decreasing. You have a negative price. Negative price. So give me a second. Does it comply with law of demand? Yes, that was a question. Hold on. My doubt whether this is when price reduces, it increases the quantity that the consumer can buy. But this is the consumer. I will say that the consumer can afford to buy more price. No, it's like this, right? Now, for example, now think, okay, I'll try to explain this. It's a bit of a complex area. Now, let's say, okay, just think, let's say, right, okay, I'll give you a real world example. Okay. Let's say, Lamai, your father is earning 100,000 rupees. Your father is earning, listen, 100,000 rupees. From this 100,000, you all are buying so many goods, right? You all are paying class fees, buying, let's say, Astra margarine. You all are buying so many things. Let's say, okay, the prices of the goods reduce. Now, let's say Anura Kumara comes and cuts the prices of all the goods by half. Now, class fee is 5,000 away, class fee is 2,500. Astra margarine, let's say not 500 rupees, it's only 250. Let's say CR books are not, let's say 200, it's only 100. Let's say, look, I'm just giving an example, right? So your father is earning 100,000. Now Anura comes and says, in Sri Lanka, every good, you have to reduce the price by 50%. I don't care. Everyone, every single one has to reduce the price. So then, if the price reduces, now you tell me, think of your family. With your father's income, what happens to the amount of goods you all can buy now? If Anura comes and says every good has to be cut by 50%. Now with your father's 100,000, you can buy more, no? Right? So now your purchasing power, right? Purchasing power would have increased. Now, in a situation like this, now you're more happy, Nulamai. All the goods have become 50% cheap. Do you think you will still continue to buy Astra? Do you think you will still continue to buy Astra now? Now goods are mara cheap. You're now 100,000 kiyanne, you're like a rich fellow now, no? Will you buy Astra now? Now you're going to switch for what? Now you switch to, let's say, Anchor butter, hari, mukak hari butter, right? See, that is what I'm talking about. When the price of a good decreases, consumers' real income increase. Margarine is a inferior good. If Anura came and did this, now you're not going to buy margarine, lamai. Now you're going to buy butter. So demand for margarine is coming. Does that make sense? For the people who asked me questions, so real income increasing. Real income increase, QD increase, yes, that is for a normal good. For an inferior good, no. For an inferior good, it will work the other way around. So just take some time to think. I mean, it's a bit of a complex area. I don't worry too much about it. Just take some time, logically put that into your head. Right. Done. So then inferior good is also done. If you want, I'll turn the screen, take a screenshot. Okay. Now we'll go into a given good. Now, what is a given good? A given good, we'll talk about that a little later also. A given good is also an inferior good. What is a given good? Also an inferior good. So when I say also an inferior good, what does that mean? That means there is a negative relationship between income and demand. So what is an inferior good? Inferior good is a good that has a negative relationship between income and. So given good is also a inferior good. It's a special type. What is a special type? I'll explain later. So in simple terms, if you are going to think, it is something like a essential good for a poor household. Let's say, for example, for a very poor house, something like rice. I'll explain that story later. That's there in my slides. I'll come to that later. Don't worry about it now. So then we'll talk about the same story here, right? The substitution income and price effect. So let's say, Lamai, now again, price substitution effect, what do you look at? Relative price and quantity demand. Income effect, again, you look at real income and quantity demand relationship. Here you look at price and quantity demand. That's the relationships that you look at. So then think of a very poor house. They are buying rice. Now there are varieties of rice. Kiri Samba is there, Kakulu is there. Let's say they are the substitutes. So let's say the price of the rice that they buy. Let's say they buy, okay, we'll take Samba. Samba also, you have Aralia Samba, Nipuna, different, let's say around 5-6 brands of Samba. So one Samba price that these people are buying, price has gone down. So if the price decreases, Lamai, now that Samba brand, let's say Aralia Samba, what happens to the relative price of that price now? If the price of the good reduces, now that Samba brand is relatively cheaper than the other Samba brands. No, I know is Samba very confusing. We'll take another example. Something essential. No, come on, we'll take rice. Right? So if the price of rice reduces, Lamai, the relative price of it will come down. It becomes cheaper than the others. So as a result, what will happen then to QD? If this certain brand of rice price has gone down, it's relatively more cheaper, more people will come and buy. So QD will increase. Meaning substitution effect is negative substitution. Then now the income effect. I told you, Lamai, this given goods are also a type of inferior good. Remember that negative relationship between income and demand still is prevailing here as well. So when the price of a good reduces, let's say Anura comes and says all the rices 50% cut down price. What happens, Lamai? What happens to the consumer's real income? All rice cut by 50%. Real income, or in other words, purchasing power will go up. Or you can buy more. But what will you do, Lamai? Now, these are inferior good. When your purchasing power goes up, do you think you will buy more and more rice? Now, Lama, you might, let's say, buy rice, then ganno noodles. You buy paratha. Or let's say you buy a kottu. See? So it's an inferior good, right? When the real income increase, you don't go and buy more rice. Now you eat kottu for dinner. Rice never. Lunch also what? Lunch now you might, let's say, have a pizza. So when real income increases, Lamai, QD will come. So then what is the income effect? Real income increasing, QD reducing. Income effect is negative. Now again, there is a problem. Now, price effect is the combination of this. So if the price reduces, what will happen to QD? Substitution effect is saying, look here, if the price decreases, based on us, QD should go up. Income effect is saying, no, based on us, QD has to reduce. Substitution is saying, no, it has to increase. These fellows saying, no, it has to come down. Again, they are clashing. Now, who is more dominant? Is it the negative substitution effect or the negative income effect? Now, the income effect is more powerful here, Lamai, in a given. The negative income effect is more powerful. So, if I give some numbers to explain this, QD's substitution effect is saying, look here, QD will increase by 100. Income effect is saying, QD will fall by, let's say, 150. So overall, what do you think happens? Substitution effect says QD will increase by 100. These fellows are more powerful. Income effect is more powerful. They are saying, no, it will fall by 150. So QD will then overall, if you give a number, it will fall by a 50, minus 50. Price increases, price decreases, QD also decreases. What can you tell about the price effect? Positive or negative? The price effect is a positive. Price is reducing, QD is also reducing. Positive price effect. Now, can you tell me, does this comply with the law of demand? Does it comply with the law of demand? No. Law of demand is saying if the price reduce, QD has to increase. Normal goods, inferior goods complied. Given goods are going against the law of demand. That's called an exception to the law of demand. We learned that in my slides, it's there. That is a see, a positive price effect means now, right? You're going against the law of demand. So that's the story there, right? So just summarize the story. Same thing as inferior good, Lamai. Nothing different. Same story as inferior good. The only difference is in a given good, the income effect is more dominant. Income effect is more dominant. Because of the fact that the income effect is more dominant, what happens? What the income effect says only ends up happening in the price effect. So income effect is saying QD will reduce because they are more dominant, then the price effect will also be QD. So price reduces, QD will come down. That is the story there. There are some questions. If real income increase, why does demand increase? Real income increase, quantity demand is not increased, quantity demand is decreasing. Sorry, why does it decrease? That's what I explained before, right? That whole under story. It's an inferior good, right? Inferior good has a negative relationship between income and demand. So when income increases, QD will come down. Is it possible to finish? We'll try. What if QD in relative price increases by greater amount than the decrease in relative? Then that would become a inferior good. For a given good now, specifically for a given good, it won't happen. For a given good, the income effect will be the one that is more dominant. No, when explain the two things, no, don't need to give examples. If you can, that's okay, but not necessary. Right. So then the last one. Non-luxury will not put into here. Different goods are the inferior goods that are going slower. Yeah, kind of okay. So then increase in price. Quickly give me the story now. Let's say Araliya Kiri Samba prices went up. What will happen to the relative price now? If Samba prices go up, now that Samba brand is more expensive than the other brands, no? Relative price will increase. Then what happens, Lamai? If the relative price increase, what will happen to QD? QD will come down. Substitution effect is negative. When you did this, did you realize something about the substitution effect? I'll give you some shortcuts to remember this. Can tell me something about the substitution. If you are in this world, substitution effect, maybe make a note or something and keep. Whether it is a normal good, inferior good, or given good, whether the price increases or whether the price decreases, no matter what happens, substitution effect is always negative. Always negative means it complies with the law of demand. See, when the price increases, substitution effect is saying QD will reduce. Substitution effect always complies with the law of demand, no matter what the good is. Is very nice fellow, like a very good obedient student. Law of demand says negative relationship, they will comply with that. The income effect is the carousel fellow, the fellow who keeps making all the carousel out there, right? So income effect, I'll give you a shortcut to remember that. But remember this, substitution effect is always negative. Now we'll come to income effect. Income effect, when there is an increase in the price, now something like Araliya Kiri Samba or something, and if the price increases, what happens to consumers' real income or purchasing power? Purchasing power will come down, no? Purchasing power comes down. So now, Lamai, the person is a poor fellow. With his money, he can't buy much. Then what happens, Lamai? Inferior good. When you become a poor fellow, what happens to the quantity demand for an inferior good? Inferior good QD will rise. You give up on the luxury ones. You buy more of this. And as a result, what can you tell about the income effect? You have a negative income effect. So again, price effect for that case. What is the price effect story? See, substitution effect is saying, look here, based on us, if the price increases, QD will come down for a given. Inferior good is saying, no, QD will increase. They are saying the other side. But who is more dominant? In a given good, Lamai, the what? Income effect, negative income effect is more powerful than the negative substitution. So as a result, Lamai, what do you think happens when the price increases? What will happen to QD? This guy is more powerful. When price increases, QD will also increase. Now, if I am to give numbers, this one will say it is falling by 100. This one is saying, no, it will increase by 300. So overall, it increases by, let's say, 200. Then what is the price effect? Positive or negative? Price effect is a positive price. Okay. Cool. I'll give you Lamai. Now, that's the overall story. Now, this story, Lamai, if you understood it the first time, you're brilliant. If you know this the first time, you're like a superior Bora. You know the whole thing. If you've got it, you might have to go through it multiple times to remember it. But something went into your head, you're, trust me, you're at a very good level. I would have told you all this in the theory class also. When I was doing A-levels, I had no idea what on earth this is. And I remember when I started teaching for my first batch, right? I remember first batch, I was after A-levels, I was teaching I was doing like an individual class for a junior from school. Then I remember when I was teaching, now only I realized I taught the fellow utter nonsense. Because at that point, even I didn't know. So even without knowing lamai, even without knowing exactly how this works, if I can become top 50 in the island, that means now I just think about you. You know this story where you can go. You can get into much better places. No? So these are product difficult areas. Even people who are sometimes in the top 50, top 100 in the island might not know this. So don't feel discouraged if you find this a little hard. But that doesn't mean you give up on this area. You take multiple times, go through it multiple times. Now, especially for us, what happens is when we are in A levels, we didn't have online classes. You go to a physical class. Physical class, you look and wait. Now teacher is teaching this. Product miss. Now the whole thing is black. Now there is no other way that you can clarify. Not that you can go and ask the teacher to teach the entire thing for 1 hour again. No, man. He's not going to teach. Then you wait for the revision class. 1 year later, revision class comes. You wait for that. Sometimes some school thing will come. You miss the class. Go on. You only have 2 chances of learning one thing. Sometimes your school teacher plays the utter fool. So you miss the theory or the revision class, whole thing is gone. But you all don't have that issue. No, with the fact that this is online. If you are a bit of a slow learner, you have the recording. Watch the recording even 100 times. Pause, and watch. Listen to a small part, put that into your head, pause it, watch the next part. So you have those facilities, Lamai, which most other people might not have, which we never had when we were doing A levels. So make use of this. And that is why now, even especially these English medium students do well now. And especially if you take my students compared to most other people, in terms of, I would have told you all my designing and all of it, I do on my own. I am the one who designs flyers and all. So I don't do a lot of things. But in terms of the island ranks and all. So even if you look at the district ranks, I still didn't make a flyer because I have to make no time. So there were around 20, more than, I don't think around close to 25, a little bit more than that, people who were in the top 100 in their districts. So there were 25 students among the top 100 in their district. That is a big achievement. There were around 7, 8, I think around 6, 7 students. They were in the top 100 in the island. I only made a flyer for the top 3 in the top 10 and top 10 in the district. But overall, most people have done great. So the big reason for that is all these things that you all get. Because most other people don't have these opportunities. You get a recording which you can watch so many times. So you need to make use of it properly. But what some fellows do is, recording is there. They don't come to the live class. Recording is there. We can watch later. We'll watch later. Some people are there, they miss the class, but they watch the record. For example, from my previous batch, right, Induvara, who was island second, I don't usually see the fellow in the live class. Right? Sometimes I see him, sometimes I don't. But papers, every time there is a paper to submit, he will be one of the first person to submit the paper. Even though he doesn't come to the live class, I go and check the website and see have they logged in and watched. 2 days later, I can see the fellow has watched. He has watched the recording. I don't have to even go and remind or anything. Paper is submitted on time. Anna, that is discipline, Lamai. So you have the facilities, make use of it properly. Don't be the fool who misses classes for entire 1 month and then think later you can do all the papers. Don't be that kind of a person. Somehow come to the live class and get it done. By any chance, if you have another class that is clashing, that you can't come, have that proper thing. So I'll give you another example. That is island second. My sister, right, who was island fifth. So my sister who was island fifth last year, same batch, would have been there in your that flyer also. They never came to my live class. I teach in one room, on the other room, they are doing whatever they want. I have twin sisters, they do whatever they want. But I think they come to my room and take a copy of tunes in my room only. Most of the tunes and all are piled up sometimes. They take a tune and go. They have access in my LMS. They have LMS access. They watch the recording, they get it sorted. I don't, just because they were my sister, I would have never had a special class for them. I never did an individual class, nothing. Even they were also part of this mock exam series revision papers. If you don't submit the revision paper on time, their paper also I don't mark. No special treatment, nothing. But those are people who get things done. You don't have to have a teacher coming behind you and Ani karanna, do the papers. If you don't do next month, I won't take. That doesn't have to come from me, Lama. It has to come from you. You know your studying style, you know what works for you. You need to have that discipline and get the work done. So proper consistent work, 2 years down the line, you will see a lot of results. That's how. Okay. So how do you do accounting? Mainly MCQ style. Right. So I'll give you a few tips to remember now. Okay. Now you can jot this down if you all want. First thing, substitution effect for all the goods were positive or negative, no matter what the good is. So these are some shortcuts that can help you with MCQs. Substitution effect, whether it is a normal good, inferior good, or given good, substitution effect is always negative. Then income effect. Income effect is positive only for what goods? Income effect is positive only for normal goods. Don't memorize it. I'm just giving you some points that MCQs sort of lazy when. Please don't memorize this and try to figure this out. Huh? Income effect is positive only for normal goods. Income effect is positive only for normal goods. Then price effect is positive only for price effect is positive only for given goods, meaning given goods go against the law of demand. Price effect is positive only for a given good. For a normal good, it is negative, complies with the law of demand. Inferior good also it's negative, it complies with the law of demand. Cool? Right. And then for a normal good lamai, the substitution effect and the income effect, they go in the same direction. No, this empowers. Substitution effect is also saying QD will increase. This one is also saying QD will increase. Both are going in the same direction. This one is empowering the other one. I am saying I am going by 50. Yes, I am also going by 50. So it's going in the same direction. But in inferior and given, the two goods go in the opposite direction. They offset each other. This one is saying, look here, I am increasing. Other one is saying, no, I am decreasing. They are offsetting each other. Here they are enforcing. They are going in the same direction, empowering it. They're a common direction. But for an inferior and a given, they go in multiple directions. And then in an inferior good, which effect is dominant? Substitution effect is dominant than the inferior income effect. In a given good, which effect is dominant? Income effect is more dominant. Right. I'll give you 1 minute. Okay? Just go through all what you have wrote. We'll then do the MCQs. Please don't cheat. Right? We'll do the 5 MCQs. I'll give you 1 minute just to quickly, you would have made notes and all of it. Quickly go through this thing. Okay, I'll give you a minute. Given good page, let me show. This is the given good page. Okay. This is the inferior good page. So when answering this, Lamai, the empower offset part is for a normal good, both of it go in the same direction. Substitution effect will also say QD is increasing, income effect will also say QD is increasing. That means they're going the same direction. So they are empowering each other or they are enforcing each other. But in inferior and given, They're going in opposite directions. QD is saying, this one is saying I am increasing, this one is saying no, based on me, QD is reducing. So income and given, they're offsetting each other. That is what that means. Don't worry too much about it. Okay. So now let's get into the past papers. No hurry. So when now since this is the first time that you all are doing this, Lamai, you can look at the tute and answer. No problem. Look at the tute because you can't remember everything. No. Look at the tute, turn the page even and answer. But we'll see if you can answer it. Okay. Right. So there are 5 MCQs. We'll go one by one. We'll see how many of you all can get me correct. So give me answers number on the chat box. First one. Which of the following is true of the substitution effect of a decrease in the price of a normal good? Now, what are they asking? Substitution effect, normal good, decrease in price. So, substitution effect, normal good, decrease in price. This first box, substitution effect, right? This is the box that you have to focus on. Substitution effect, decrease in price, normal good. Go back to the question. First one is saying it works to offset the income effect. Offset means I taught you what is offset. Is it offsetting? Second one is it works to reinforce the income effect. Reinforce means go in the same direction. Okay. Third one is saying it is less than the income effect. Fourth one is saying it causes a decrease in the quantity demanded of the good. Fifth one is saying it causes an increase in the demand for the good. One thing I want you to be careful, demand and quantity demanded are two things. Don't forget that. When I explained in this entire table, when the price changed, look at what did I change? Did I change the quantity demanded or did I change the demand? Think of that as well. In all what you wrote, did you write D or did you write QD? Okay. Think. Demand and quantity demand are two different things. You all know change in demand, change in QD. Which one is yours? 1, 2. These are difficult MCQ now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Final answer. Locked in. Can't change after this. Have answers. I have all 5 answers on the chat box. Okay. So look at the answers. Yeah, no, you can't change now. Huh? Okay. We'll start with the last one. Last one says, Lama, it causes an increase in the demand for the good. So substitution effect, decrease in price, normal good. Substitution effect, decrease in price, normal good. Does it increase the demand for the good? Now, increase in demand and increase in quantity demanded are two things. Have I said increase in demand? No, I have said increase in quantity demand. I gave you all that hint as well. Increase in demand, Lama, is a rightward shift of the demand curve. You all have learned that. This is not a rightward shift of the demand curve, this is movement along the curve. So fifth one there is wrong. You can't say increase in the demand for the good. Cut. It has to be increase in the quantity demanded. Then fourth one is also wrong. Substitution effect when there is a decrease in price. There will not be a decrease in the quantity demand. There is an increase in the quantity demand. So 5 and 4, I cut off. 5 and 4. Number 3, it is less than the income effect. For a normal good, Lamai, did I say anything is more powerful, anything is less? Did I say anything? Now, even in that second thing, when I gave numbers, I gave minus 20, minus 20. Did I give one number higher, one number lower? No. For a normal good, Lamai, the substitution effect and the income effect are equal in power. I never said no, anything is less, anything is high here. For inferior and given only, I told that story. Normal good world, I never told. So you can't say it is less. Here it is not less, it is equal in power. Then you're left with 1 and 2. Look at 1. It works to offset the income effect. Is it offsetting the income effect? Offsetting means this one is increasing, other one is saying, no, I am decreasing. They're offsetting. Are they offsetting? I told you this like 2-3 minutes ago. It's not offsetting. Offsetting means I am saying increase, you're saying decrease, and we offset each other. Not offsetting, right? Both are saying increase or both are saying decrease. It's not offsetting. What is it doing? It is reinforcing. This one is saying I am increasing. This is saying, yes, I will also increase. It is supporting that. And that is your answer. It's a bit of a difficult MCQ, but from the answers that I got, only around 20-30% would have got it right. So we'll do all 5 and we'll see how many of you all get it right. Okay, how much you all do. Okay, that's the first one. Question number 2. The table below shows the substitution and income effect of a price change of good X. Which of the following represents the correct combination of substitution and income effects? So they have given type of good, inferior, 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 normal, normal, price change. They have given quantity demanded due to substitution, quantity demanded due to income effect. So what you have to do here is, Dhamma, you have to look at this. So you have to look at what is happening to quantity demand. So for a normal good, when the price decrease, what happens to QD? For an inferior good, when the price increase or decrease, what happens to QD? So you can go through your notes, right, and come up with an answer. One by one, check and go. One by one, check and go and see which one is right, which one is wrong. So far, most answers I have are correct. One by one, check the utility. Inferior good. So these are all the boxes we have. Each of this is one box. Inferior price fall. What happens to QD based on the substitution effect? Does the QD increase or does the QD decrease? Then what happens to income effect? So A one by one. Yan. See if you can figure that out. I'll give you like 30 more seconds. Around 60% of you are correct based on that. Okay. Shall we go one by one? Okay. Now watch for the ones who got this wrong. We'll start with the first one. Yeah. First one is saying inferior good price falls. Inferior good price falls. QD based on substitution effect, they are saying decrease. We'll go and check. Inferior good, right? So inferior good, right? I'm checking up. Inferior good. Hold on. Price falls based on the substitution effect. What happens? QD increases. Inferior good, price decrease, QD increase, substitution effect. This one said decrease, no? That is wrong. Wrong. Then I will not even check the second one. I'll cut that offline. I will go to the second one. Second one, Balan. Inferior price rises. Substitution effect decreases. Is that correct? Inferior good, page 2. Price rises. Based on the substitution effect, QD decreases. Is that correct? That part of that thing, that is correct. This one is correct. This box there is correct. Now we'll check the second box. Inferior price rises. What happens to QD on the income effect? They are saying decrease. Inferior price rises. Income effect is increase. Based on income effect, QD will increase. The answer says lamai decrease. So under there it's wrong. Then answer number 2 is also cut off. So one by one check lamai. Now you go to answer number 3. Inferior price rises. Now you don't have to check lamai. If this was correct, this has to be wrong. If price rises, if this is decreased, then this can't be increased. So then 3 is also gone. Then you're left with 4. Normal good price falls. That is our very first one, page number 1. Normal good price falls. See, based on the substitution effect, does the QD increase? Based on the income effect, does the QD increase? Yes or no? Normal good price falls. Based on the substitution effect, QD is increasing. Based on the income effect, also QD is increasing. So that is correct then. No? Answer number 4 is correct. Looks like our answer. Last one. Normal good price rises, then this has to be decrease and decrease. So answer there is number 4. They're looking at what is happening to QD. So if you know the story llama, you can get that. That's the second. Those two are product typical questions. Then let's go into 2020. This one is not hard. I want you to think and give me an answer. 2020 question number 11. If the income effect is negative, income effect is negative. So then think which goods income effect is negative. But substitution effect dominates. Income is negative, but substitution is more powerful, they are saying, dominates. Then the good is what? Is the easy one, right? Is it a given, normal, essential, inferior, luxury? Income effect is negative, but substitution is more powerful. What is the good? Right, done. Most of you give me answers, we'll discuss. First line. Income effect is negative. There are two goods. What are the goods that have a negative income effect? The two goods with a negative income effect is lamai, a inferior good and a given good. Those are the ones that have negative income effects. So then which one out of this? They are saying substitution effect dominates. In which one is the substitution effect more powerful? Inferior ke given ke? Substitution is more powerful in a inferior. So then you narrow it down and you get your answer. That is right. Some of y'all gave me 3 and 5. That is very disappointing, Lama. We didn't even talk about anything called essential good. We never talked about a thing called luxury. At least if you gave me given now normal, I would have at least been happy. At least you remember the 3 goods we talked about. I hope the ones who gave me 3 or 5, that's a careless mistake and not something, right? So again, it's the easy one, right? So this is saying substitution income effect is negative. So where do you have negative income effects now? Negative income effect, either in a given good, income effect is negative. For an inferior good also, income effect is negative. Income effect is negative, and what? Substitution effect is more powerful. So where is substitution effect powerful? Income effect is negative and substitution effect is powerful. That is for inferior good. That's how you get that. That's a very easy one, 2020. That. Okay, then going to 2022. Which of the following helps in explaining why the demand for an inferior good is downward sloping? Now, downward sloping means what? Complies with the law of demand or goes against the law of demand? Demand curve downward sloping means it complies with the law of demand. So they are asking you, why does an inferior good comply with the law of demand? Think of the effects and all of it. First one, income and substitution effect moves quantity demand in the same direction. Just go in your table and see. For both of it, is it going the same direction? Income effect equals substitution effect. Negative income effect dominates the substitution effect. The substitution effect dominates the negative income effect. consumer increases consumption of the good with an increase in income. Which one? Inferior good. Come on, this is easy, right? Not hard. Inferior good, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Answer now. Inferior. Inferior. Now, some of you, Alama, you might not have the printed notes, so you were not writing anything. You have nothing to refer, right? So don't worry too much about that. So which one? So for inferior good, does the QD move in the same direction? No. Substitution effect says increase, this file say decrease. So this one says increase, that one will say decrease. It goes on the other side. Then income effect and substitution equal? No. Which one is more powerful now? The inferior good, I told you. That's what we had in 2020 paper also. My same thing they are testing in a different way. Which effect is more powerful? Substitution effect is more powerful. So answer is number 4 then. Substitution effect dominates the negative income effect. Answer number 4. That's 2020. Okay. Last one. 2024 is the latest A-level paper that students did this year in February. So when the price of an inferior good falls, when other things remain unchanged, consumers will demand first more or less. So inferior good if the price falls. Inferior, price comes down. Look at the price effect below. Inferior good, if the price comes down, what happens to QD? Will consumers demand for more or will consumers demand for less? Look at the price effect. In your tute, look at the box. And then, why is that? Is it because what effect is dominating what? This time, around 95% of you all are right. At least I'm happy that the last one you all are getting it right. Some of you all are still wrong. But for those who are wrong, don't be very discouraged. But if you're listening even to the previous 2 MCQs, you can get the 5th one correct. So inferior good, Lamai, when the price comes down, inferior good complies with the law of demand price effect, QD will rise. Why does the QD increase? Because the substitution effect is more dominant than the income effect. Income effect is more dominant, Lamai, that is in a given good. Inferior good, substitution effect is more powerful. So which one is your answer? Number. Right. So these are the past paper MCQs. Essay questions I have not gone through. When you do the essay questions in the past papers, you all will see. Right. So no, I didn't teach the demand curve actually yet. Okay. So how did you all do out of 5? Can you quickly let me know? I would be happy if we at least got around 2. The questions are a bit difficult. At least 2. If you got nothing, then you were not listening. At least 2, you're somewhere there. If you got all 5 now, perfect. You can be very proud of yourself. If you at least got 2, you're somewhere there. You can get this done. Right. So that's the story of this. I wanted to do much more, but I didn't want to hurry. So there is a lot that we have to do in the demand area. So I'll plan on an extra class as well, because I want to finish off unit number 2 this month. So next week for you to do the paper, I have to finish demand. So for me to finish demand, there is a lot more to go. I have to talk about, I'm done with this. I have talked about the demand curve, demand schedule. Some of you all know this, right? So this is just a recap, right? I need to recap this demand curve, demand schedule. I need to talk about this change in quantity demand, change in demand. Then I talk about elasticity, right? PED, right? That part. Then you have the types of PED, this, that, PED total revenue. So there is all of that part that I have to teach you. So no hurry, right? I'm not going to hurry and rush and get this done. So I'll look into it and I'll let you know when we can have, let's say, an extra class. So today that is it, because now it's 10 also. No? You're also tired. Nothing will go into your head after this. So what I want you to do today, now listen, right? I want you to go through what we have done. We have not done a lot. We did the basics of this. We looked at the determinants. We And then we learned this price effect, income effect story. We learned that a little bit more in detail. So those who got screenshots, Lama, can you all share it on the group as well? The three main screenshots. I'll add the this written tute. I'll add it to the LMS also, but that will take some time for you to get access and all. A day or two will go. But someone who has taken screenshots, please share it on the group. Then for people who have not written, maybe once they get their tutes in the next 1 or 2 days, they also can quickly jot it down. So with that, we'll call it off. On the weekend, I'll try my level best to have a bit of an extra class for you all so that you can work on the paper and get that done. Now, for those who know this, these parts, some of you all know, you all are smart fellows, no? You can get started and doing the past papers, do the past papers, do the questions. You all can get it. For the ones who are a little struggling, wait until I do the next part and then you do. I know most of you all are smart enough to get it done. You all know PED, you all know law of demand, demand equation, you all know. So you can do, you get going. The ones who are a little struggling, wait until I do it on the weekend and you'll get it. Cool. Right. So the recording of today's class, I'll add it onto the paper you have to do next Tuesday. So you can work on the paper little by little by little. This weekend, I'll have an extra class and I'll finish demand. Then Coma Tuesday you can do. So I'll try my level best to have it on Saturday. Then you have an extra day. Then at least Sunday you can do the paper. Then even if you miss the class on Saturday, then at least recording a balance, you have more time. So I'll try to do it as early as possible, the extra class. So even if you miss the live one, soon the recording is available. Okay. So I'll plan and let you know. I'll look into my schedule and see where I can put it. Anyway, next Tuesday by 6 o'clock, you have to do revision paper number 5. Revision paper number 5, you have to get that done. No excuses. I will, before that, I will teach you, recap this part 4. Cool. Right. So recording of this, I'll add to the website soon. You will get access within a day or 2. And then if you're confident to do the paper, you can go ahead and do it. Okay. So I'll let you know on the extra class this weekend. See you. Bye-bye. Those who have questions, please do stay and chat. See ya.